Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Here we go. Welcome to the Checkdown. I'm your host, Rick Rosen. I'm going to be in this seat for 3 hours, so you better get used to this mug. It's fantasy football week 1, and I'm like a child on Christmas Eve, except that I have no idea what that's like. We have 13 games to talk about today, a full slate of NFL games, lots of fantasy implications, and there's a lot of unknown because it is the first week of the season and we're basing a lot of things off preseason rankings, preseason projections. We don't know where we're going, but I might have a map if you ask me some nice questions. So I will be here. I'm your host, Rick Rosen. We're here 10 to 1. This is the Checkdown. It's very exciting. We're new here. It's heavy.com's streaming fantasy football show. I want to talk to you something about what we do here because I was trying to get people to watch the show yesterday, and I was saying, hey, I have a fantasy football show. I'd appreciate it if you watch it. And someone said to me, fantasy football, you know that's just Dungeons and Dragons for jocks, right? And I thought about it, and I'm not sure really where he was trying to go with that because, first of all, it's 2017. Like, everyone knows Dungeons and Dragons is super lit. It's a really fun game. And so is fantasy football. But at the same time, neither of those things are appropriate to talk about in a public space. You don't go to work, talk about your latest D&D campaign and how you crit rolled on an orc boss with all your friends cheering you on. That's lame. You don't go into work talking about how you're thinking about starting Adam Thielen over Zay Jones in the slot, but you're not sure because of Thielen's matchups in the secondary. That's lame. So there are parallels there. But what's in common? I think both of those things are dope. And that makes me the perfect Sherpa for you up the fantasy mountain of greatness of which we begin our ascent today. It is the Checkdown. Hallelujah, football's back. I want to tell you something about what happened. This is Checkdown Mini Studio. And we had a little incident here, a little setting malfunction. So I had my diploma. Every good office has a diploma. There's usually some books. I'm not much of a reader. So I had my diploma up here directly behind me. And I came in here and I was smiling at my wall and all the work Chelsea and I had done to try to get this wall perfect. And as I tapped on the wall, my diploma slipped through the paper and is now just gone into the abyss. So, William Patterson University, I don't know what the going rate is on a diploma, but I'm probably going to give you a call next week because, I just don't feel like bending down. It just seems like a deep dive. But that's okay because we're here live on the Checkdown. It's fantastic. Sorry we didn't start 100% on time. Stream keys, they are a funny thing. And mine was from my dummy stream, but that is a technical revelation not for the public. So let's move on. We are going to look at today's schedule, not the NFL schedule. We are going to look at the Checkdown schedule for today. So let's check it out. Was that good? Did that look good? Oh yeah, that did look good. I'm watching that in the highlights. Okay, so today's show, we're going to start by breaking down today's show. The 10 a.m. hour, not a very good hour. People are waking up. People are popping in, and we're just trying to get our bearings on Sunday morning. We got no injury reports, and we have mostly questions and not enough answers. So right now, we're just going to get a lay of the land. You know, the general that walks the field of battle while all the soldiers are sleeping? That's what we're doing right now. If you're watching, you're in early. We are generals surveying our field of battle, because in just a few hours, there will be blood, and we will be witness. So right now we're going to break down the show. After that, we are going to talk about Thursday Night Football and the ramifications therein. If you drafted Kareem Hunt, you're a happy boy. But what about the trade offers that I hear you are getting? What to do with those, and also Mike Gillislee trade offers. Then we're going to look at today's schedule. 13 games, mostly at 1, some at 4. Giants, Cowboys at 8. Ooh, we're not thinking about that. That brings on a lot of feelings. But it's a big day, and there's a couple of games that I'm really interested in the matchup. And we have our first super chat, and that's amazing. Brian Richmond, our first super chat. So what I was going to get to before I got onto the schedule is because there's no diploma here, I thought we should do something a little different with the background. So here's what's going to happen, Richmond. Whatever you want to put on this whiteboard, we're going to write, and we're going to put it behind me for the whole show. I was going to say the first person to super chat, but that just felt like I was like asking for it, and I was kind of hoping it was an organic thing, and now we are out here, and now Richmond, he gets to write whatever he wants as long as it's PG-13. It could be #resist. It could be Toy Story 3 was just okay. It could be Def Leppard is overrated. There's a lot of ways that you could go with the whiteboard. So whenever you want to pop in the chat, whatever you want to write, I got markers. Draw the thumbs up emoji. Wow, that's a struggle. So I'm gonna grab a marker and I'm gonna try to draw a thumbs up. I might have to trace. I might have to get a good look at this thumbs up emoji. That is not easy. I was never an artiste. You'd think being a lefty, Anyway, so we're going to look at today's schedule. There's a couple of games I'm really interested in. A couple of matchups that are really fascinating. One thing I was reading about this morning is the Oakland Raiders have a first-time offensive coordinator today. They're going up against the Titans, and the Titans' defensive coordinator is Dick LeBeau, who just celebrated his 80th birthday, which is insane. And that experience disparity, I just wonder how that's going to play out, because the Raiders have a ton of weapons, but I never really saw the full package. There was always penalties, there was always turnovers, and they needed to put it all together late. Now they have Marshawn Lynch and some balance, but the Titans are not a pushover anymore. We are done betting against the Titans. We're done starting against Titans defense. We are now picking Marcus Mariota as trendy picks in drafts. The game has changed for the Tennessee Titans. That probably, from a fantasy perspective, is the matchup I am most interested in, because there is a lot at stake as far as fantasy talent. I'm going to draw my favorite emoji here. I don't have purple, so I can't go with the eggplant. Let's see what I got. My mic's coming in good. Okay. Man, the thumbs up doesn't look great in the red. I don't want to really kill the show by trying to draw an emoji. So after we look at the 13 games, we're going to do power rankings like we do every week on the Checkdown, or the previously entitled Untitled Fantasy Football Show. And this week we're doing 99-cent Arizona tea cans. I understand that's a regional delicacy, as I've come to know. I don't really care. This is a regional program. It has a regional bias. So we're going to go with regional profits. Hey, and if you want to change the power rankings, you should get at me midweek at Rick Rosen on Twitter, or any other way you want to reach me, because, the graphics are done. Pre-production's a thing. I'm just going to hug this board now because it feels really comforting, and it's like cooler, and boy, was I schwitzing when the stream was delayed. That was nauseating. But I digress. Our first question of the 2017 season, Tom Budo, is Sam Bradford or Andy Dalton. And I really think Sam Bradford has become one of the most disrespected quarterbacks in professional football. He's so accurate, and it's something that you don't even think about because you just figure all NFL quarterbacks are accurate. He's really good. He's like Alex Smith without legs. And I think it's important to note that he started... Nice. Thank you, Ben. He started last season joining the Vikings so late in that trade that bumped up Carson Wentz to the #1 starter position. And it's almost crazy to think how fast he stepped in and took the Vikings to 5-0. So things really ramped up really quickly for the Vikings, and then started to fall apart as their line fell apart because Bradford's mobility is a liability. Take that rhyme to the bank. But when it comes to Bradford versus Andy Dalton, I really think Andy Dalton is one of the safer bets in fantasy football, especially with a healthy AJ Green. If AJ Green was healthy all last season, extrapolate his targets, he was the most targeted wide receiver in fantasy. So you can imagine without him how much the Bengals offense suffer. They lost a couple linemen, but they gained Joe Mixon, an explosive element in the backfield. And I think the people who say the Bengals aren't going to be good this year just are the same people who say Andy Dalton can't win a primetime game, which is really fun to say, but just totally lacks merit because football's about matchups, not what time of day it is when you're playing the game. It's not splits. It's not Tanaka at home. Tanaka at night. That's a thing, right? I got you. The splits are different. I would go with Andy Dalton. The Saints defense is better than people give it credit on that same turn. I want to give Sam Bradford a week to figure it out. I do think you'll see a lot of drop-offs to Dalvin Cook. They're going to get him involved early and often. I'm going to put this marker down. I'll come back to the drawing during the later. We got 3 hours, boys. I mean, geez, we could be drawing every hour on the hour, but I digress. Jonathan Stewart's a really interesting proposition, Ryan. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for checking us out. Checkdown. Jonathan Stewart got bumped out so hard, so fast by Christian McCaffrey, and that's not really fair. But what I think is obvious from what we're seeing is that the Panthers are going to be actively trying to get Christian McCaffrey involved. They're not just going to put him on the field and hope he succeeds. They're going to deliberately design scheme to put him in space and utilize him at maximum effectiveness. And what you get with Jonathan Stewart is a known quantity. You get 3.6 yards per carry. You get no fumbles. You get a solid blocker. You get someone that knows the offensive scheme really well. So Jonathan Stewart has now been relegated to Frank Gore status, where I think I can bank on him as 9-10 points, but I'm done expecting big things from Jonathan Stewart. I'm done making him a reliable start if he's healthy. He was hardly a reliable start anyway, with a ton of injury problems in his history, which is sad. He's a very good running back. Always has been. Always been disrespected. Really, started that line of Oregon backs, if I'm not mistaken. And it's really crazy how fast you can get knocked out of your starting job in the NFL. And that is probably the number one thing that I'm looking forward to today, is the performance and the usage rate of these rookie running backs. If Kareem Hunt didn't set a wicked tone, then I don't know how better to show it, because that dude came out in his very first game and he dominated the reigning Super Bowl champions. 2 touchdowns in the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground, a destructive fantasy performance. He ran the wheel. He caught a fly route. He was beating people in breakaway runs. He's dirty. And it goes to show, young, exciting talent is so hard to game plan for because it's an unknown. And that's what we're dealing with week 1. Matt, I'm going to get to you in a second. Adam's going to get to you in a second. Let me just round off this point. Dalvin Cook against the Saints. Christian McCaffrey against the 49ers. They're going to be involved likely as 3-down backs. Heavy usage rate, PPR. Red zone is what I'm nervous about, but I'm very excited about their every down capabilities. Joe Mixon is the most interested because he might be the most talented, but he's also listed 3rd in the depth chart in Cincinnati. So it's really interesting to see where that plays out. The other one's Leonard Fournette. He's a Jaguar. And we can't talk about Jaguars till they prove that they're worth talking about. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on. Let's take some questions. Adams, thank you for tuning in. What's your advice to people that drafted Ezekiel Elliott in all leagues but now have to deal with moral consequences that comes with that? You're playing fantasy football. All right? Don't think about moral consequences. You actively paid money to trash talk your friends. So if you're doing this for moral consequences, and if you're watching football for moral consequences, you should go to church. It's Sunday. What DSTs are worth holding on to this season? I love this question because I'm not a big fan of holding on to DSTs. I like streaming the matchups, and I like streaming bad quarterbacks. And that's what I'm going to do in most of my leagues. But if I had to hold on to a defense, I would hold on to the Vikings. I would hold on to the Broncos. I would likely hold on to the Texans and Chiefs. And that's all for now. Here's the thing. Defenses are very hard, obviously, to predict. And week to week, they have a really high variance. But you have to identify a strength and piggyback off that. And the biggest thing is sacks, because sacks are much easier to come by than interceptions. You can ask Clemson. They had 11 sacks against Auburn last night. That is ridiculous. 11 sacks. Ugh. But a defense that gets sacks, that's much more schemed And that's so much easier to game plan for. Seattle's a good defense, Tim, but they're mostly focused on the back. They want to get pressure to force picks. And a lot of teams just want to force pressure, and then good things happen. Because even if I get the interception, I'm now 30 yards downfield, 20 yards downfield, and I have to get a run back. If I get a strip sack, I am behind the line of scrimmage. So this is, again, not founded in any clinical research, but by all means get at it. I believe that strip sacks are a way more profitable venture to target as a defense, because you get the sack, you get the forced fumble, you get the fumble recovery, and then you have a chance at the 6, and that is the big turning point in DSTs. So, sort of answer your question, keep it going. We'll live like this. Matt DiRenzo, play Odell Beckham Jr. today. Tough because can't wait just before game tonight. Need to decide by 1 so I can replace him if necessary. I sadly would bench Odell Beckham Jr. today. It really breaks my heart. It's a lower body injury, and on the check down, we have extra importance on lower body injuries on wide receivers and running backs because they need to run. And as a Giants fan, I can say this because I watch it, but if you don't watch a lot of Odell Beckham, he is insanely physical. He's a very good blocker. And if he can't go 100%, he's not going to go 100%. And I think that he's not 100%, and it's better off just waiting until next week until this thing becomes a bigger injury. However, if you need a replacement, I really like Evan Ingram. He's a rookie, but he's got huge hands and he's a big body. He's essentially Jimmy Graham, Travis Kelce. He's that size. He can't block, but if he's in the slot, he's an absolute matchup problem, and you can bump one of your flexes to wide receiver, and you can bump a tight end to your flex. I think he's going to make up a lot of that ground. I don't super trust Brandon Marshall to get open and get separation. I love this Ingram kid, and I really hope that he shines tonight, even without Beckham. And then when Beckham's back, he's going to increase cloud coverage on defenses, and that's going to open up the underneath and the seam for Ingram again. So it's going to be a really good option. All right, we got really important check down questions coming. Ketchup, mustard, or barbecue sauce? This is crazy because it's all about down and distance. I don't know what I'm eating. I don't know what condiment to use. My sister did this thing. She loved ketchup growing up, so my sister would drown her plate in ketchup. What that did was it set a psychological impasse for me and ketchup. I didn't touch ketchup for 18 years. Now I'm okay with it. Maybe like a burger, maybe with eggs, but I'm not crazy with ketchup. I would never on fries. That's such an insult to fries. Barbecue sauce on the side, always. Start 2. Well, then probably barbecue sauce, and then I'd have to find out what I'd flex mustard probably. That's okay. That's okay, Dan. It's a good question. Adrian, what's going on, man? Thanks for checking in the show. Casey Hayward, the starting corner up with Sanders, gave up 1 touchdown last year. Is the start worth it with Cobb, Marshall, and John Brown on the bench? So, Sanders, obviously good player. I like John Brown today. I think John Brown is a really good matchup. I think the Lions secondary is as much overrated as it can be for a Lions defense. And I think what's going to happen is John Brown is like a Tyreek Hill, like a Brandon Cooks. He may not be popping on the box score early. He only needs 1. And he might get 2 because he's healthy for the first time in a while. And Carson Palmer's looking really good. And like I say with the Cardinals, Bruce Arians is committed to emptying the chamber. It's maybe my favorite phrase in all of football. Bruce Arians is so good with his Ariansisms. Empty the chamber might be the best one. It is so dope. Yeah, we got a bunch of deep plays dialed up, and we're not leaving without an empty clip. Oh, that's good coaching. I'm agresivo. Okay, so I like John Brown. I think he's a good start. I think he's healthy this year. He's my sleeper. I'm going to start him in DFS. Honey Mustard, definitely a good start. Is Sterling worth the start with no Odell and a flimsy Dallas secondary? Kind of. If you have better options, but Shepard is going to see increased looks. The Giants have to pass. They don't have a lot of balance, but I do think that it's unproven and I'd be shaky, and I feel like you have better options. Bow, 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 bow. Ranch, though. King and Pizza, Penn State. They got the vat of ranch, and they ladle it on their pizza, and that's a regional delicacy, much like our power rankings for today. Arizona Iced Tea. What do you expect from Martavis Bryant out of the gate? Oh, you got to start him over Odell. If you got Odell and Martavis Bryant, you're starting Martavis Bryant. I do think Bryant scores today. I think the Browns have had such an insane problem with Antonio Brown in the last couple matchups. He's torched them in the last several meetings. They have to step up coverage on him. They're going to shade a safety over. Martavis Bryant is too good to not have a safety on him. And if you combine the necessary box stacking to deal with Le'Veon Bell and the extra attention you have to pay to Antonio Brown, it just paints Martavis Bryant as a winner because he's so good in the vertical passing game. He's going to expose the Browns, and I think he could have a very strong game, especially if you don't have Odell in the lineup and you have Bryant. You got to go for Bryant, man. That's just the way to do it. So let's check back with our schedule today, see what we're doing. After Arizona rankings, we're gonna look at the top things I want to say today. I saw talked about Oakland, Tennessee, and that coordinator matchup. And we talked about running back usage rates and how we do that. We're checking social. And after that, I like the NFL Red Zone drinking game. I don't know if we're going to get to it, but it mostly consists of drinking during every punt because punts on Red Zone are just so stressful because they love foreshadowing. They love doing that American Idol thing where it's like, you are not eliminated just yet. Just kidding, you are. Or you're safe. Just kidding, you're eliminated. That's Red Zone tries to implement that in their punt coverage, which, is stupid anyway, but they got a lot of stuff going on. And then at the end, we're going to do last minute ads as the injury reports come out, as we get ready for kickoff, because we're going here till 1. Answering fantasy questions throughout, whatever you guys need. Here we go. Let's take a couple more questions. Oh, Ben, what's going on today, man? I have Amari Cooper and AJ Green in my lineup and Brandon Marshall on the bench. Would it be insane to think about starting Marshall given the Odell injury? It would be insane. First of all, congratulations on having 3 very solid wide receivers. But I talked at the top of the show about how effective AJ Green is. When you combine that with Amari Cooper, who's very, very good at football, I think that you're overthinking it. And that's basically what I'm here for on Sundays is the overthink, your gut instinct. Come to us, let us guide you with the check down, and we're making plays like a nice nickel corner, man. It's a reach. It's an overthink, Brandon Marshall. Just because the targets will be there doesn't mean the production will, relative to legitimate studs like Cooper and AJ Green. Martavis over Benjamin, Yaz. It's a really interesting question. I obviously like Kelvin Benjamin this year. The 49ers, another provocative matchup. We don't know exactly what they're going to be. They totally retooled. That game could be a blowout or it could be close because there's a lot of unknown. That's the number one afternoon game I'm watching. I'm going to be locked in on Seahawks-Packers because it's going to be a great game. But 49ers-Panthers is really interesting because the 49ers are a total fantasy misnomer and the Panthers have a lot of good players and you just don't know how they're going to produce. So super interesting to watch. I would probably still start Martavis over Benjamin. At the same time, it's an AFC North matchup, and those can be fickle, but I like Martavis's catch average. He's the deep ball guy. Kelvin Benjamin shares red zone targets with Olsen, and they like Devin Funchess, and I really think Christian McCaffrey is going to start banging inside for them. It's all about McCaffrey. It's all about how he gets used, how he impacts the field. He can do a lot of things, and he's incredible in space, and he's very tough. I'm really hyping this guy up. I hope he has a good game. Matt, what's going on? On a scale of 10 to 10, how over is Curse's career after going to the rebuilding Jets? Here's the thing, Matt. Somebody's got to catch that ball, man. Robbie Anderson's going to get plays because somebody's got to catch that ball, man. The Bills traded away their best corner. That game's got to go somehow. The better it goes for the Bills, the more the Jets are going to pass, the more opportunities for Curse. So this could be a guy that ends up being a garbage time play by the end of the year where you just know the Jets are going to be senselessly airing it out by the third quarter, and the targets are going to be there. I still like Bilal Powell today. He's really the only startable Jet for me right now. I think when Safarian Jenkins gets unsuspended, I feel like he's been suspended for 3 years, honestly. When he gets back with the team, I think he's going to be really effective, but they need a quarterback. They need a lot of help. That is the least talented team in the NFL. I can say that with full confidence. Mixon or Duke Johnson Jr.? Wow, that's a really good question. That's the question you come to the check down for, because if you ask the people at the office, they're going to say, leave me alone, I'm working. So Joe Mixon is third on the Bengals depth chart right now, even though we know he's the most talented there. He's got the highest upside. We know what Bernard does. We know what Hill does. They produce, but they don't have that pop factor that we know Mixon's going to bring. That being said, we don't know where the carries are, so it is a ballsy move to start him today. Duke Johnson Jr., if it's PPR, he's going to work out of the slot. He's going to have opportunities. The Browns are going to be down. That's another place where he is definitively the second running back. So his role will need to be explored this week. His snap count will need to be explored this week. I'm not confident in either of them, but I like having them on my roster. I'd be excited about that moving forward. What's up, Jimmy? Congratulations. Thank you so much for popping in. I really appreciate it. What do I think about Chris Carson? That is probably my number one most intriguing thing to watch today is the Seahawks running back carousel. Thomas Rawls has an ankle injury. He's doubtful, and what happens there is a whole lot of questions. If Eddie Lacy gets 20 to 25 touches per game, I'm going to be so mad. I was clowning that dude so hard in the offseason. He's really just shot. He's one of those Alabama running backs that got too many carries in college, and I'm not a fan of his game. I don't really know what he brings. But on the other hand, I like CJ Prosise and I like Rawls and I like Carson. Carson was great in the preseason. Oh, I insulted Eddie Lacy, so Tim's mad, but what are you going to do? So if Chris Carson comes around, I'm going to be super excited about it. I also have him in a league. I'm excited about the stash. The bottom line is, like, preseason superstars, it's 50-50 because we don't know if it's a gimmick or if it's Victor Cruz, where it's real talent that is just yearning for a shot. But when a fourth string running back steps up the way he does and then gets featured the way he does, where he was being featured in the early stages of preseason games with the starters, you just got to look at that and think, I wonder if there's any merit to that. I wonder if that's going to be profitable for me down the line, because don't forget, Jay Ajayi was a healthy scratch week 1 last year. A healthy scratch, did not travel with the team. There are running backs right now in NFL locker rooms across the country. One of them is not on anybody's roster and is going to be a stud by the season's end. Kareem Hunt can't be the only one. It's not only one guy. Josh Rosen, future Jet. I saw it. I don't remember anything else about it. I just remember that I saw it. So there's that. Chris Carson or Carson Daly? Wow. That's super provocative. I would probably go with Carson Daly right now because I know what I'm getting. But Chris Carson's got the high upside, and he's also an early riser. Carson Daly's been doing late night for like 15 years. Does anybody ever watch Last Call with Carson Daly? If you're trying to promote an album, how bummed are you that you got booked for Last Call with Carson Daly? I would fire someone. And he always had like I feel like he had the black engagement ring before pro athletes. I don't remember. I feel like he had a weird accessory that I'm forgetting. But did he wear an earring for he probably had a long earring? Nah, Carson Daly, he tried to murder people in Josie and the Pussycats. He tried to kill Tara Reid. I'll never forgive him for that. So I'd take Chris Carson today, but Carson Daly Carson Daly 15 years ago, that's a franchise player. That's who you build it around. Just, so people know. Are we getting fuzzy here? We're getting fuzzy on the... Oh, nail polish. Yeah. And the black ring. Definitely had the black ring. Okay. I want to make sure the graphics are coming in nice. Whatever. Zay Jones or Adam Thielen? Wow, that's a really good point. I love doing that graphic thing, man. That thing swings down and gets me so jacked. I tell you what, man, the graphics on this Checkdown show, this is a limited John Gruden, and it's not very good. Tim Driscoll asked me, Zay Jones or Adam Thielen? Tell me, Rick, tell me. I like Adam Thielen. Second half riser from last season. We joked about him and his funny name. Here he comes. He's a real slot guy. Zay Jones set the record for catches in college. Very active collegiate player. I'm very concerned about his NFL ceiling, but boy, do Bills fans want me to know that they're expecting big things about him. Talk about overhype for the sake of nobody else to overhype, man. They dealt Sammy Watkins, and the Z train started rolling out of the station. It's super obnoxious, but also when you see his college production, it's hard to fight against that. It's hard to fight against someone that's done so much. if you went to a not FBS school, does that also mean that so if you're dominating coverage at a not, like, let's say you're Wisconsin, right? You're a wide receiver at Wisconsin. You're beating Michigan corners, right? Like, you're beating Iowa corners. But Zay Jones didn't go to those schools. He's beating lesser defenders. So I'm a little concerned when we talk about what he's capable of and how that translates to the NFL game, especially Tyrod Taylor's been in and out of concussion protocol, not a lot of time for rapport. Like, that's the thing with Jeremy Maclin. Like, Jeremy Maclin and Joe Flacco practiced together for the first time, like, last week. Do I keep skipping Five Butch's question? Shit is flying. Ingram or Gore? Okay, I see it. I see it, guys. I see it. It's a couple of times. That is hilarious. Calculated. So Zay Jones makes me nervous for that reason. He dominated lesser talent in college. You know who else dominated lesser talent in college? Jerry Rice. Terrell Owens. I can't think of anybody else right now. First person that messages the college Terrell Owens went to gets a prize from me. And now we'll answer Five Butcher's question. Ingram or Gore? So Mark Ingram is going against a really tough defense, and he's also going against a really tough head coach because his coach hates him, and that's why they signed Adrian Peterson. Mark Ingram was an every down guy, then he went to the first 3 downs guy, then he went to the 3 down guy but not in the red zone guy, because Adrian Peterson is going to mash the red zone. I guarantee it, because that's where his burst is most effective. People can now chase down Adrian Peterson. It's a relatively new development, and I think that against Minnesota, it's going to be really rough inside. I think Danielle Hunter and those boys, Hunter and them boys. Yeah, I named one Vikings D lineman. I think he's going to have a really tough time. And then you have Adrian Peterson. You have Alvin Kamara. You have Alvin Polaroid. And I think the touches are going to be at a premium. Frank Gore's the dude. We know about Frank Gore. He's that dude. And if they have any shot at winning, they have to put the ball in his hands. And that's why Frank Gore is your dude. Sorry for the delay. Are you happy now? I'm sorry for the delay. Appease the masses. You want to get fans. You got to give them the service that they want. It needs to be a little higher so you can see it. Great. Oh, Chattanooga. Yeah, man. Hit me the Venmo request. I'll ship it. I'm not going to ship it. There will be some form of prize. Spy. Suhu's a spy. Flex play. Pick one. Oh, Randy Moss went to Marshall. That's true. He played against decent talent, though. Rand University. Really good 30 for 30. I didn't disrespect Michigan corners. I put Michigan corners on a pedestal. I gave them something they didn't deserve. Notice how there are 2 Michigan State corners in the league right now that went high in the draft and flamed out. Put those in the chat. You won't. Flex play. Pick one. Rob Kelly, Forte, Maclin, PPR. Maclin, again, low rapport with Joe Flacco, who I'm already low on to begin with because he's got back problems. Fat Rob, I think, is your best pick here because the Philadelphia Eagles have built their defensive line for pass rush. They have a ton of hitters on the defensive line, edge rushers, edge specialists. The way the Redskins are going to combat that is bang inside with Fat Rob. Bang inside, and set up play action passing because the Eagles gave up over 36 points in both games to Redskins receivers last year. Granted, that's with Deshaun Jackson, but now they got Terrell Pryor. I think they're going to be just as effective, if not more effective, because taking the top off the defense is super important, but, I mean, catchability is important, and Terrell Pryor can catch the ball anywhere because he's so big. So now you got Pryor and Crowder. Becomes really tough to stop, man. So Fat Rob, I think banging inside. The R is what I worry about. I worry about the catches, but I think Forte is going to take a backseat to Powell. Thank you, Five Bush, man. You the man. I really appreciate it. We're out here. I'll do another one for you, man. That is awesome. Maclin the same way. Maclin is sneaky one of the more targeted receivers in football. And going to Baltimore is a really interesting shift because Baltimore got completely gutted of receiving talent, and now it's Maclin who has been not on the field and not working with Flacco, and Brashad Perriman, who's pretty much been hurt his entire career. Steve Smith gone, Torrey Smith gone. That used to be the way they operated. So it's really like Mike Wallace is your most consistent guy there. That's honestly crazy when you think about it, because Mike Wallace should have retired. I thought, let at me in the chat if you honestly think that he was retired, because he probably should have retired. When he went to Minnesota, I was like, oh, this dude's cooked. But he just keeps cashing checks, and I respect that a lot. So Jeremy Maclin is someone that I know has the potential, but I'm not going to pull the trigger this week. I'm also know I'm going to get 2 games against the Browns, so I can hold with confidence knowing I'm eventually going to have a spot for him down the line. If you're just joining the show, I keep noticing this black space because it's right over my shoulder. My diploma is supposed to hang there, and it fell behind the wall paper. My diploma's gone forever. William Patterson, help me. Can I get a bursar? But I digress. Let's take a question. What do you think Woodhead can do this year in Baltimore? So the Ravens are switching to a heavy run scheme, which is good because their quarterback has a broken back. Terrence West is going to get the majority of the carries. I do think Woodhead can be productive. He's coming off an injury. Always makes me nervous. But I think with the right amount of opportunity, he could be a PPR stud. In non-PPR, I probably wouldn't be starting him. But honestly, he's a guy who can probably consistently pull 4 or 5 catches a game, and I think that's going to give him a lot of value down the line. I'd like to see the snap share, not just the targets, the snap share. How often is he on the field compared to Terrence West, who's younger and can do a few more exciting things? So Woodhead, this year, I'm okay with it. Today, not 100%. Suhu, what's up? Cooper, Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, pick 3, or kick out 1, depending on how long you want the answer to be. That's a really good question because your receivers are really good. So that is really good for you. I'm down on Devontae Adams this year. I think he had a lot of red zone touches. Those are going to get stolen by Martellus Bennett and honestly, Ty Montgomery. I think they're going to work him in more. I think they're going to try to run the ball more and keep the defense honest. Play a little bit more, not a heavy set, but just keep things a little bit tighter and take the pressure off Aaron Rodgers because, he's really good, and you should set him up to succeed as much as possible. So I would like to wait on Devontae Adams, especially this week against Legion of Boom. Don't start Adams this week, but definitely keep him. And I would maybe shop Adams because I'm not so high on him, but people can look at his last year's numbers and get that inflated number. Like, he's obviously due for regression. No slot receivers are going to catch 12 touchdowns every year. It's just unrealistic. So take a look at how other people value him and see if you can go somewhere else from there. You're starting Woodhead against me, Ryan, but also like you're going to lose because I'm pretty sure I got Kareem Hunt there or some form of nasty running back because that's how we do. Burt Macklin or Jeremy Macklin, very good choice. Macklin's connections are unreal. He's got a way better connection to the president than Jeremy Macklin has with Joe Flacco. So if Macklin makes the call, that's Macklin's call, and I got to respect that. And he's a damn good detective and a damn good human being. And thank you for the question. That's excellent. So we are here coming up on the first hour. We have not done a single segment, and that is how we do it on the Checkdown. I kind of want to look at the NFL schedule. I kind of don't. I'm kind of having fun just hanging out. But let's go back to the show schedule. What can we do today? Let's talk about Chiefs-Patriots a little bit until the questions come in, because if you have Kareem Hunt, you're super excited, but you're also getting crazy trade offers. And I'm going to say right now, if someone offers you Le'Veon Bell for Kareem Hunt, you smash that accept button as hard as you can, because that's what a sane human being does, right? But I'm not trading Kareem Hunt for Michael Thomas. I'm going to fleece someone if I'm trading Kareem Hunt, because that's the number one guy that they love. Wow, Maroon 5, Train, Imagine Dragons, pick 2. Wow, this is really easy because Maroon 5 and Train just have an incredible discography. So I'm picking, like in sports, you don't pay for past performance. But in music, the back catalog always lights up. It's funny how that works in music. Everything's evergreen, right? So I'm taking Maroon 5 and Train, but only because of the back catalog. Because Imagine Dragons, I get Radioactive on the back catalog, but Train I get Soul Sister. Like, even if you don't find that song annoying, like, that was like a #1 hit. That's a jam. And Maroon 5's first album was a classic, so, you know, Maroon 5. That's actually one of the easier questions we're going to do today, and I think it was just a softball for me to dirt on Imagine Dragons. Always appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about Rex Burkhead. I started Rex Burkhead in one of my hometown leagues on Thursday, and I got absolutely clowned for it. Why? Because he's a white running back with a funny name, and that's all there is to it, because the projections for his production were sane. He's working in the slot. He was getting the carries. It made sense to think about starting Rex Burkhead. Was it a flex play? Absolutely. Was it a risky play? Absolutely. Did I get dirted on for it? More than anyone should ever get dirted on for. So here's what's going to happen. Rex Burkhead is going to score 6 touchdowns this year, or I'm going to eat a picture of his face. That's a fact, and I promise you that. Rex Burkhead will score 6 touchdowns, rushing, receiving combined, or I will eat a paper picture of his face. That's not me doing a crazy gambit to get you to watch the show. That's me having faith in my running back and hating back on the haters. In 2017, I think they call that a clap back. A clap back? Let's look that up, actually. Oh, file clapback is not a thing. Oh, yeah. This is the dual cam, right? Yeah, boy. So I swipe back. You got the technical shot. Oh, man. Look inside. Clapback was a song by Ja Rule, which we can't listen to because of YouTube. Clapback, to return a diss, particularly one related to the beef in the hip-hop world, that's a profanity. We can't show it. Clapback. Basically, a comeback, most likely pumped with attitude, sass, or shade. So how about this clapback? Whoa. If Rex Burkhead doesn't score 6 touchdowns, I'm eating a piece of paper of his face. I don't know if that's a clapback, if it's something that I gotta do that I don't want to do at the end. But that's a fantasy thing that I'm promising you right now. Because I'm trying to get some views. I'll go viral for eating Rex Burkhead's face, but I won't. Because he might score 7 touchdowns this year. Alright. Cholula or Crystal? Cholula or Crystal is a really good question. Crystal is a criminally underrated hot sauce. Regional bias. On the East Coast, I don't think we drink enough Crystal. I said drink. I said drink for a hot sauce because, you know, I would. I think Crystal is a good every down. Cholula's got an extra bit. God, I just love... Cholula gets so many points for having a wooden cap. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. I like it better. And if Cholula and Crystal are next to each other, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm grabbing the wooden cap because it feels cultured. It feels fancier. And Cholula's really good. Pizza and eggs. Drops of Jupiter. That's also a jam. Something about fried chicken, right? That's a line in the song. 100%. That guy's annoying. I can't believe, like... It's crazy how many hit songs Train has, and then if I was like, it's like, put the, like, who's the lead singer of Train? Tell me now. You'd be like, dude, I got nothing. Honestly, I don't know. That's my, oh, this is the whiteboard. We're going to use this for gimmicks. We're going to use this all season long. It has tons of functionality. Look, this side says yes. Oh, the hot takery is so real. We're going to have some fun. It's a long season. So, you know, I got all the bells and whistles. Gadget plays like flea flickers and reverses. The plural of reverses should be reversi. Soul Sister is, in fact, the jump. Catching up here in the chat. Yep, she eats fried chicken and does Tai Bo. Reminds me that there's room to grow. Rex Burkhead and Rick are spies. I'm always a spy. I'm honestly, if you don't know what we're talking about with spies, we're talking about the board game The Resistance, of which I am an owner, of which I am the worst. It's a game of deception. I don't like lying to people, you know? So I'm just not good at it. But, you know, you're a spy, so whatever. Let's talk about Mariota. What do you want to talk about Mariota for? You know, that's a very interesting matchup. What are you going to do with the Tennessee Titans? Marcus Mariota is an incredibly high draft pick for a passer on a run-first team. Do you understand why that sucks? You understand why that sucks? His opportunities are so limited. He's not going to throw 50 passes in a game, and if he does, they're going to lose. But that's still like a really high pick for some people. So it just kind of boggles your mind, like, where does he fit in? If he were going to get the rushing yards, I'd almost understand, but he doesn't run. He's not a running quarterback, and they've committed to not making him run. So where does he get his strength? He has an okay deep ball, but not okay deep targets. You're drafting him based on play action because he's not going to win you the game with 5 and 7 step drops. And I think that's a real problem in his game. But I also don't think it's a huge issue right now because the line is really good and the running backs are really good. So is he GOATy? Not 100% right now. Does he have GOAT potential? Yeah, I'll go with that. LaFell and Boyd. Who's getting the targets? I have on good faith an NFL insider who said Tyler Boyd has looked very good in training camp. I still don't know what that means. I slept on it. I don't know. But I had him last year because they said he was exciting, and he was really exciting on my bench all season. Brandon LaFell, talk about a guy who, you know, if I told you he was out of the league, would you believe me? Probably, because he's that kind of guy. He will show up when you don't want him to, and you will start him, and he won't perform. I can already guarantee you that. When you start Brandon LaFell, he will not score. That is expert analysis that I promise you, you will not get anywhere else. It's just a fact. Fantasy NFL ownership. How many seasons does Goodell have left? Let me put it to you guys this way. Is Roger Goodell hated? Yes. By who? The people. Who are the people? Nothing to him. He works for the 32 owners of the NFL. And what Roger Goodell's done is transform the NFL from a very popular sport in America to a 7-day-a-week, 12-month news cycle, and one of the only TV programs that is DVR proof. He's completely withstood the wave of new media. He's horrendous at handing down suspensions. The owners don't give a shit. Pardon my French. Because he's on SportsCenter every day. And he's in the analyst's mouth. And he's on TV. And his engagements are high. He's provocative. He gets the people going. Give me another biscuit. I think Roger Goodell is going to be around for a long time. And he's getting paid a lot. So he's got no reason to leave. But, I mean, it's a good question. As far as fantasy NFL ownership, he's a keeper. First overall pick and a keeper. 1 of 1. A lot of shenanigans on the Checkdown this year. A lot of shenanigans. Fantasy NFL owners, probably not going to do it. Because, well, I hate them all. I hate them all. I hate every NFL owner. I think they're all pieces of garbage. Because Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. And if you watch football, I just don't get it. So, NFL owners, call me. I'm on the Checkdown. That'd be a good get. NFL owner on the Checkdown, it's a good get. We'll rank fast food establishments. I will sit here. It's the Checkdown. We're coming up on the end of hour 1 of the 2017 NFL season. Injury reports are on the way. That is super exciting. So we talked about Kareem Hunt and what that means, but also, Mike Gillislee had a really solid Thursday night game. He scored 3 touchdowns, but he didn't have a lot of carries, and he got stuffed on a couple 4th downs, and we didn't know what he was going to be, and he was starting in less than 40% of ESPN leagues. A lot of people. Gotta talk about, that might have been the 2 greatest running back performances in fantasy football history with less than 50% start percentage, because people really had no idea. It absolutely came out of nowhere because it was insane. Who's uncle? When Crabtree disappoints, wow. totally lost my train of thought. Oh, because Mike Gillislee. Mike Gillislee is someone that I actually would trade, because just because he's slotted at goal line back right now doesn't mean he's a super lock to keep that job, especially the way he struggled on fourth down. Bill Belichick's not married to roles just because somebody earned it in the preseason. And I feel like he's a guy that you could trade right now. His value is so insanely high. And anyone who's ever rostered a Patriots running back knows that Mike Gillislee scored 3 touchdowns on Thursday. That means he's projected for 8 carries for 6 yards next week. So it's a fickle situation that you could take advantage of the high value right now. And I think that's a really strong play. So if you have Gillislee, definitely explore trade options. It's a low risk for you to massively improve your team, because the consistency of a goal line back, even LeGarrette Blount and his 18 touchdowns last year, the consistency was not where it needed to be for an RB1, and the numbers didn't pan out. And I think that if you trade Gillislee, you can get a much more consistent option at another position. My chin's itchy. Sorry. I keep itching my chin. My chin's itchy. Let's check with some questions. Biscuit or croissant for breakfast? See, that's an outstanding question. The biscuit, so a good biscuit, like, it comes through the wax paper, like the shine comes through the wax paper, but it doesn't end up as a residue on your hands. And it depends on what I'm doing, because, like, my nickname in college sometimes was croissant because I was so flaky. Croissants just get everywhere. They're just such a problem sometimes to handle. And I just feel like they're not conducive to sandwiches, whereas a biscuit sandwich is such a heady play. It just holds well, even though a bad biscuit will crumble. I feel like I've said enough here. I think both have strong value. It's really a matchup play, what's going inside. If I had to pick one as a standalone, though, I would take croissant because it's got a better rip factor. I like taking the nubs off the ends and ripping it. And that is expert fantasy analysis. Boom. When Crabtree disappoints, which Oakland receiver do I pick up? I mean, why is Crabtree going to disappoint? Him and Cooper are both going to have 10 touchdowns. I had a preseason guy that I liked, Ishmael Zamora. He got cut, so, I mean, God, if I know what a third wide receiver looks like. I do know they gave Seth Roberts an extension for a reason. They do like him, so in all honesty, if I had to keep an eye on another Oakland receiver, I would definitely make it Seth Roberts, simply because they paid him. So there's clear interest and value to get him involved there. Miami owner is a good dude. Next question. In your opinion, who is the best undrafted free agent picked up this year? Is that a fantasy question? Or if it's not a fantasy question, the best undrafted free agent pickup this year was Cooper Rush. He's going to be Dallas's backup quarterback. He was undrafted free agent. He was really good in college. He's like incredibly smart. He's an analytical guy. He got what's the thing where you project actuary? He has an actuarial degree where you project risk. So it's like crazy amounts of advanced math. So he has a degree in that, all while playing D1 football. He's very cerebral. He soaks up the playbook. I think he's a very good quarterback as far as undrafted free agent picked up, just because the value of quarterbacks are so insanely high as opposed to other positions, because if you have a good one, you're going to be set for a decade. Hurry up with my damn croissant. Chicken biscuit. I mean, chicken biscuit's a heady play. It's a lot in the morning. I'm like alternating beverages like crazy, but it's a show here, man. We're out here. Likes him so much he has him and Cooper. Yeah, no, I have both. Auto Draft hooked me up in one of my leagues. I have Cooper and Crabtree. So if either of those names interest you and you're in that league, call me. I think we're going to be able to do call-ins on the Checkdown. I'm not 100% sure. And I think it's doable. You know what? Let's try this out. Let's try this out right now. I'm going to open up FaceTime and I'm going to have somebody call me. Wi-Fi'd up. We're Wi-Fi'd up. We're heading into the first hour. Let's get wacky. Let's go off book. You know? Juno? So FaceTime's up. Someone ring me in. We're out here. Whoa. So I'm finding out that the computer, doesn't really respond well when you're doing other things and you're doing a live stream on YouTube Live. I wanted to do this cool thing with the draft app where I do a live draft. Let me show you the draft app. So you know about daily fantasy and FanDuel, DraftKings, and the like. Shirts popped? What's happening? So there's daily fantasy, there's DraftKings, and there's FanDuel, where you put you got DraftKings, I gotta decline the call because I gotta show this thing. So you got FanDuel and you got DraftKings, and those are daily fantasy. Everybody picks a lineup, right? And then there's this thing, there's draft. Let me just make sure this gets in nice. I got a delay, so I got to wait for it to show up. But I'm pretty sure this looks good. Yeah. So draft is like FanDuel. It's the DFS option, but you actually are doing a 3-team or a 6-team fantasy football draft. And I can do it and have you see my screen, but I will lose either my scratch record for the show or my microphone. That's a tough decision. Sort of a Sophie's choice of the streaming world. Didn't see the movie, read the cliff notes. So one day we'll do that again. And, we're working on it. So that'll be a fun feature. I really like that draft app. I might do it. I'm wondering what I could unplug here. I'm wondering if I unplug the microphone and go through the laptop. This could be provocative. I got 3 hours, y'all. I'll do whatever I want as long as I am taking your questions and being your Sherpa up Fantasy Mountain, and it's real easy. Did I just make $5? I don't know. Maybe. If you super chat, your question gets answered immediately. And you can pick an emoji for the board because my diploma is gone forever and we got to fill that blank space. So I'll write your name. See what I did there? That's an Easter egg for the real ones. On we go. So Chiefs Patriots, we learned a lot. We also learned about Eric Berry. He blew his Achilles. That sucks for him, but it really sucks for the Chiefs defense because Eric Berry locked down Gronk like nobody else does. So when Eric Berry's off the field, they're going to be super vulnerable, especially in one-on-one matchups with big physical receivers. AC Milan does not come back from 0-2 to Lazio. That's awesome. Milan can, FOH. But what do we do with that Chiefs defense? I think you're fine because the sacks, like we said, the sacks are always going to be there. But it is worth noting how well Eric Berry locked down Gronk and how that translates to the future when Kansas City has tight end matchups. So, that's a team that gets Antonio Gates and Hunter Henry twice a year. I think it's worth keeping an eye on how tight ends play against them moving forward because Eric Berry was healthy all year last year, and they were one of the best teams in football against the tight end. I believe they were 26th in fantasy points against, so one of the best in stopping the tight ends. Let's keep moving. AC Milan were good. Jim Thorpe Award winner. Tell me which award that is, and I will answer the question. Since OBJ is a game-time decision, who do I start, Jordan Matthews or Marvin Jones? I am very big on Marvin Jones here. Marvin Jones dominated the early stretch of last season before a lower body injury killed his value, and I just have a huge problem with his low grade heading into the preseason because he doesn't deserve it. He's a very, very talented receiver. I think Patrick Peterson will likely be matched up with Golden Tate. Thank you, Ben. I really appreciate the super chat. Ben, if you want to put an emoji up on the board, Tim, give your favorite emoji, Ben, and we'll put it. Give me your take on Tevin Coleman's value this year. So if you super chat, we pull the cord, whatever that thing is on the bus that gets your stop. We pull that and we immediately answer your super chat question. Give me your take on Tevin Coleman's value this year now. All the experts are hyping a regression year. I'll put this away. Unless you want to give an emoji. Okay, cool. So, hey, Gianna's out here. Okay, so Tevin Coleman. A lot of people are figuring the Falcons for a regression year, but I really think that that just impacts their verticality because teams are well aware of how dangerous they are, but that gives them an opportunity to be more diverse, to get players like Coleman involved, players like Hooper involved, players like Taylor Gabriel involved, who came on strong late last year, but was a non-factor for like the first 12 weeks. Next person to post their favorite emoji gets it on the board. That's real. That's a super real thing. What an opportunity. So Tevin Coleman is 100% worth rostering because he's on one of the best offenses in football. Week to week start is a dangerous proposition because we don't know what the snap counts are. So, chat's lit. We don't know what the snap counts are for Tevin Coleman. This week, I'm not going to start Tevin Coleman, but I am rostering him for the rest of the season. Devontae Freeman is one bad step away from being out, and then it's Coleman's team because the third option is non-existent. So you really have to factor how important Coleman is to the fabric of that offense. And today, if Coleman gets 25 snaps today, that's probably enough for me to consider him as a low-end flex play moving forwards. Granted, today might be one of the worst defenses he plays, but like we've talked about before, the variance on week 1 is so high. There's so much unknown. So it's so hard to just pick a name like Tevin Coleman and say, I'm going to start him, because you end up with a Rex Burkhead scenario where you don't know what a guy's going to do, and you end up making a bet where you think you're going to eat a piece of paper with his face on it. Boy, that was ugly. Whew. You know, I came out there, I gave it 110%. You want to play good, you try to play good. I think I played pretty good. I answered the question good. I had to start him today because Ajayi is out. We'll see what happens. We'll see. That's a totally different scenario. That's why in the fantasy football world, context is king. It's one of my biggest problems with the fantasy industry. If I put out a top 250 ranking, that is irrelevant to everyone because nobody has a 250-man roster. I want to hear about your team and your matchups and how your selections fit in with your decision, because individuality is the key component of fantasy football. Everybody's story is different. It's why nobody wants to hear it at the office and why you bring it to the Checkdown. I want to play the music. What's going on? We're going to the second hour of our show here. Let's just rip this thing, man. I want to play our theme song again. Chuck Salamone absolutely murdered this theme song. And I'm going to draw the thumbs up, and I'm going to draw a pickle. And we're going to move on. God, Tevin Coleman, man, it's such an interesting play. It's such an interesting play. The offense is good, man. The offense is good. We got to figure it out. I'm drawing here. Oh, man, I'm going to get clowned for this. This is insanely bad. Don't color it in, Rick. It takes too much time. Too late, I started coloring it in. Oh, God. Oh, this is so ugly. Oh, what am I doing here? I should bail. I should tuck and roll here. We got another minute of the music, though, so I kind of bought myself a little time. We need a title. I was going to put some quotes up here, but honestly, I'm rattled! I'm rattled! My diploma falling was probably the most rattling thing that's ever happened to me. Let's bring this music down a little bit. It bangs, though. You can't tell me it doesn't. Chuck is a wizard. Chuck he really did kill that beat. And when I say beat, I mean riff? I don't know. Not a music guy. Played the drums in school. No notes, just a line. Oh, don't turn that around. That's a spoiler. I lost my green marker, and that makes the pickle a tough sell. Oh, here it is. I'm drying out all these markers. Always talking to the microphone. Chat's lit. Let's pop in. Marker fumes are out here. Turn the music up. Oh, that's a good call. Okay, next time. If you guys couldn't hear the music, you gotta let me know. We're drawing a pickle. Boy, is this sorry. Oh, that's right, Dan. We're going to talk about Survivor picks and the Rams. Okay, you did let me know. I know, but I was rocking out and I was trying to draw emojis. The emoji board is out here. Yeah. Yeah, man. Hey, the production value in this shit is through the roof. Pardon my French. Don't find me, YouTube. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Boy, is that classless. Oh my god. You know, I tried to design the set after Adam Schefter's library. So, let's see if that holds. If that falls on me, it's only good television. The thumb came out pretty nice. The coloring I was super worried about, but from a distance it actually looks pretty decent. If I go like this, then you can see everything really clearly, and hopefully every time we super chat, we'll just add an emoji there, and that'll add up all season. While I was rocking out to the theme song, we had a couple of questions. Should I be cozy finding a place for Tyreek Hill, even though my receivers are Julio Jones and Brandon Cooks? Brandon Cooks freaked me out the other night. He was a 55-yard catch away from having a complete bust night. He also got tackled twice and probably should have had a touchdown. He's going to be a really fickle play. He's clearly not settled into a defined role on that offense, but that offense is supposed to be wild explosive. So it's a little iffy to be rostering to start Cooks every week now. I definitely want to start Tyreek Hill every week, and I definitely want to start Julio Jones every week because they are absolutely... Their coordinators are committed to getting them involved, and that is paramount to a player's fantasy basement. All right, crazy blue eyes. I'm going to get to your question in a second, but I want to talk about the Rams as a survivor. I do think the Rams are a heady survivor pick today. I'm not taking them because I don't trust Jared Goff, but I have seen some of his preseason work, and I do think he's improved. I do think his weapons have improved. I do think they could bang it to Gurley 35 times and still win that game. My biggest issue is just the Rams in general being bad, and I'm always nervous week one. Listen, if Scott Tolzien's going to keep starting, I can just go against the Colts every week and run through this dynasty league. This week in Survivor, I'm taking, if you Google Survivor Pool Picks, I have a post up on heavy.com, and I took the Falcons this year and or this week because I want to make sure I make it to week 2. I think that's super important, and I think that when it comes down to it, you just need to take the biggest confidence play with a few caveats. I once knew a guy who's like, yeah, I just take the biggest spread on the board each week, and I thought that was a heady play. But when it comes to divisional games, I tend to take a step back, and it makes me nervous because, like, just the big favorite and the divisional games, it could just get messy. You really just got to really look at the matchup and pick one and go from there. So I'm taking the Falcons this week because I know that they have the best offense and they're absolutely overmatched. I'm sharing the article of the Survivor Pool picks, so you can check it out right now. And bang it to Gurley, man. Absolutely. All right, let's go back to Blue Eyes' question. And then, Ben, I might talk about what's on the wall, Ben. You know, who knows? You know, I got 3 hours, man. I'm out here. I don't have a snack. I have some beverages, and I might walk away and plug the Gronk interview for 8 minutes. We interviewed Gronk last week. It went very well. We asked him what his favorite emoji was. We put it on the board, and we asked him what animal he would ride to work. That video is on the playlist, the Checkdown on Heavy's YouTube channel. It is a very good playlist of videos that I've created. They are short. They are stupid. If you don't giggle, send me a Venmo request. I will send you a penny. On to your question, Mr. Blue Eyes. Thank you so much for checking the Checkdown. Flex option, Gord, Jordan Matthews. Blue Eyes, I need to know if it's PPR or not. The issue there is Frank Gore has a high basement. Jordan Matthews has a chest injury and is an unknown, but it's a struggling Jets secondary. Somebody has to catch the passes. It should be a good game for Charles Clay, but it's unknown if Jordan Matthews steps into the Sammy Watkins role because he's not that kind of player. He's not that kind of dynamic talent that people like want to actively get involved in the offense. It is PPR. So I would probably go with Gore there, just because I think I can get him in the end zone, and I think the Colts are going to have to give it to their running backs if they want a chance, because they simply can't give it to Scott Tolzien 40 times a game. And if Scott Tolzien is dropping passes, Scott Tolzien, you're going to want to check it down a few times. Don't throw deep on that Rams defense. Did I get the point? Oh, I hit the wrong corner. That's stupid. It's the left side. Check down a few times. Nailed it. So we'll get better. It's week 1. So I would go with Gore there, and I wouldn't really be concerned about it because neither of those players have a chance to explode. Don't forget the Bills were number 1 in rushing attempts last season. Conversely, number 31 or 32 in passing attempts. They are committed to a certain style of play, and that style of play is not force-feeding the ball to Jordan Matthews as much as we'd all like, Jordan Matthews owners. Let's move on. Anywho, let's move. Oh, hey, Chelsea, what's up? Hey, Chelsea, thanks for stopping in. I thought the drawing was pretty good. Nothing what you want. Your handwriting is much better. I'll have you do the emoji board title, and you should really be writing everything for me that I don't type, because my handwriting is that of a drunk pharmacist. Moving on. Standard League. Fat Rob or Golden Tate flex. So I do think Golden Tate is going to get matched up with Patrick Peterson, and I think that's a problem. I think that's going to really hurt his value. We talked about Fat Rob, and we talked about what he's going to have to do today and the touches. In a flex, you have a little bit more leeway there because you want a little bit guys with a higher upside. That certainly falls into the Tate category, but I think Fat Rob will get into the end zone today. The Eagles are a little soft, and I don't mind it. I don't mind the Fat Rob play, especially over Tate. I like having Tate. I think he's a good player, and but the individual matchups on the Cardinals scare me. I don't think they're as deep as other defenses, but I think that when they want to take a player out of a game, they can. And we'll see what happens. How do you feel about starting players against the defense you're playing, against the defense you're also starting? Now, this is a philosophical question because you want maximum output from your defense. You want maximum output from all your players, and you don't want anything that's going to deliberately hurt your chances. I think the only way this is a huge problem is quarterback against defense, because the quarterback holds a lot more cards than any other player on the field. So it's really about the matchup, because the thing is, nice. The thing is, I want my quarterback to score as many points as possible, and I want my defense to be up against a bad offense. So if my defense is up against a bad offense, why am I starting fantasy players from there? So it's a rare conundrum that usually points to a lack of depth, because if you're targeting bad offenses, you're also breaking one of my cardinal rules of fantasy, which is we don't start good players on bad teams. That's just why we haven't talked about Leonard Fournette yet today, because I don't really care until he does something for me. So that's where I feel about that. Philosophically, I struggle with it because it goes against the fundamentals of fantasy, which is score as many points as possible. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't overthink it to the point where if I had to do it, I would make a drastic change. Like, I wouldn't go benching my offensive players just so my defense could shine. I think that's a little insane. Moving on. I think it's almost time we do Arizona Can power rankings. They're gonna be good. I want to look at the NFL schedule real quick and what games we have today and what I like and what I don't like. We got a minute. What's 11:18? Let's do 11:45 Arizona Iced Tea power rankings. I am out here for that. And go ahead and try to guess what the number one is. You won't. It's Grape Aid. It's not. It's not. So the first game today is going to be Pittsburgh-Cleveland. The Steelers usually dominate that matchup, but the Browns have a rookie quarterback and a lot of other rookies around the ball. They made a lot of changes. You never know with Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, they're not going to win the game, but the spread is going to be tricky. And in general, I think the Steelers have more problems with the Browns than people like to talk about. They just want to see that as a steamroll. But I'm really excited for Le'Veon Bell. Jets-Buffalo, if you watch that, you hate yourself. Jaguars-Houston, I've heard someone say this could be the low-scoring game of the week. I'm not super sure how I feel about that. I think Tom Savage is better than people give credit, especially when he's got one of the best jump ball receivers in football in DeAndre Hopkins, Nuka Hopkins, and Lamar Miller is a very solid running back. Losing Will Fuller sucks, and their offensive line is a little battered. They don't have Dwayne Brown, but it'll be interesting to see how the Texans bounce back because that is a team that was a game away from the AFC Championship. When you really think about it, they got a healthy J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney. This is like probably the first time really that we have a fully healthy J.J. Watt and a fully menacing Jadeveon Clowney who's confident in his ability because he was sort of second guessing and not really playing off instinct in his first stretch in Houston. Now he is a high performance machine and he's on one side and Watt is on the other, and it honestly could be the best two defensive end combo in NFL history. Go ahead and post in the chat what you think is the two best defensive end combo in NFL history. There's obviously one standout, but I really think Watt and Clowney, as far as athletes, are way better than any other pair before. It could be ludicrous. They could combine for 40 sacks. I'm serious. That's a crazy good defensive line, and it's going to really affect the way teams pass the ball because if you get to 3rd and long against the Texans, what are your tackles going to do on 3rd and 12? Those boys are coming, and it's going to be really tough to stop. So, very interesting. Yeah, Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen, very good. But J.J. Watt's a freak athlete, and Jadeveon Clowney is an insane performer. Of course. You know what? I don't know what I expected. Ware and Miller also. Yeah, no, it's real. There's really good DN combinations, but I do believe that Watt and Clowney could be the absolute best. I might do a post on it if they do really well today. I mean, they're going against Blake Bortles, so, they might do really well today. I'm officially on #HennyWatch. Let's post that in the chat. It's on. It's on. Henny Watch. Searching for the next Jaguars franchise quarterback. Is he there? Is he out there? Or is it Josh Rosen? Wow. John! My man, welcome. Congrats on the move. Bills defense or Chargers defense. Thank you so much for checking out the show, Howard. Welcome to the Checkdown. This is how we do it. I'll go full screen for you, my man. Whoop! Bills defense or Chargers defense. It's a really good option. The Broncos defense, the Chargers defense is a really good matchup and a sneaky good defense. The problem is they play the Chiefs and Chargers 4 times out of their schedule, and it really messes up their points per game and their yards allowed. But I think that they could have a solid matchup late Monday night. Joey Bosa is so real. Joey Bosa is so good, and people don't really think about it. But I do think that you can't overthink that decision, Howard, and you got to go with Bills. Because the Jets are a complete... You know what? Actually... Oh, man. I'm getting in my IFB. We're going live. We have a live look-in from the Jets locker room as they prepare to take on the Buffalo Bills. A live look-in from the Jets locker room as they prepare to take on the Buffalo Bills. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's horrible. Oh, look, there's Robbie Anderson. If you squint, you can see it. Oh, no. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, the Jets. Look at the Jets. That is so awful. Oh, no. So, knowing what we know now, I really think that the Wiggins stream defenses against the Jets pretty much every week. Was it worth it? It wasn't worth it. I will do that bit 3 more times in the next 2 hours. There's nothing better than the visual comedy. Wow, guys, I heard Blake Bortles is getting ready to warm up on the field. Bortles is working with Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson outside. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Robinson, you have so much potential. Oh, you're such a good deep ball target. Oh, you guys are wasting away. Both you Allens. Oh, such a waste of talent. I think we're coming back to the studio now, and we're back. Okay, so it's never not funny. I will keep doing that over and over and over again. I will run that clip every week for 16 weeks. But I would also stream the defense against the Jets every week this year. Unless for some unforeseen consequence, they make a move for a quarterback. I did read earlier this week, there's tons of great fantasy football follows on Twitter. And one of them does passing projections. And he said that last year he nailed like 11 out of the 12 top passers. And he's doing it again this year. And his number 7 this year was Brett Hundley traded to the Jets. It was my laptop overheated because the take was so hot. You think about the Packers trading, that's crazy to begin with. Then they're trading their backup quarterback. Okay, that's not valuable. He knows the system or not, whatever. Then Hundley goes to the Jets and then starts, right? That's the third thing. Immediately starts, new team, unproven. Then he becomes the 7th best passer in the NFL. That is just that's a hot take, man. That's how you do it. That's a professional hot take artist. He could toast sandwiches at Subway because he's an artist. Howard, I will get to your Rob Kelly or Terrence West question. I want to scroll up and check out this Kelsey question that I apparently missed because I was too busy showing the Jets locker room, which is impossible. So let's scroll up. Should I have any worries with Kelsey after Hill and Hunt showing out and getting a lot of touches and targets or not at all? So I think that Kelsey got game planned out by the Patriots. I think that the Patriots had a very good game plan for the Chiefs. It just didn't include Kareem Hunt because he was a rookie with no game film. They took Kelsey out of the game, and they kept Tyreek Hill in front of them. It's an incredibly solid game plan until the one play Tyreek Hill got behind them, and then it was not a good game plan. And then Kareem Hunt showed out. I mean, he had like 12 yards a carry, and he just dominated with every touch. He looked so good, so physical, so quick. He was so fast to turn the corner around the outside. He's going to be around. I would not worry about Kelsey because he's got better matchups. And the Patriots take away the best player. We know that. So it's important to think about what happened and not just look at the box score and say, he didn't get any targets, because he's not going to get targets if he's not open. So let's go to Howard's question. Rob Kelly or Terrence West? This is a really tough question because I like Terrence West in Baltimore. I think he's a sneaky play because the Ravens are switching to a heavier running offense. They want to commit to the run. They were number 1 in pass attempts last year. Kenneth Dixon is out, so it's Terrence West as the tote man. Woodhead is the PPR guy. And it's tough. Oh, Budo, I'm going back to TBS original comedies, but Howard's new, and I want to make sure he knows that the Checkdown is committed to your fantasy questions. So, Rob Kelly, Terrence West is a toss-up. I'm going to start West in my league against Cincinnati. I do think you should start Rob Kelly against Philly, just because he's a strong inside presence and the only one on the team that cut Matt Jones for a reason, and he's going to get a red zone touchdown because they're going to drive, and Kirk Cousins has struggled in the red zone, so they'd prefer to keep it on the ground. And I think Rob Kelly is a very solid start in terms of touch percentage. And so as long as the Redskins are committed to running the ball, he'll be a successful asset. Again, the PPR numbers are definitely not going to be there, but I think that the touches, especially in the short yardage, he'll score. Rob Kelly will score today, or I'm going to eat a picture of his face. That's it. That's it. This is how we're doing it this season, okay? You want bold predictions? I want a snack. All right, let's rank TBS comedies. I'm looking for him. Sullivan and Son, Angie Tribeca, Cougar Town, pick 2. So here's something that not a lot of people know. Angie Tribeca is like easily one of the funniest shows on television. Literally, there are a good amount of people watching the show right now. I would say 6 of them have seen Angie Tribeca, and 4 of them think it's one of the funniest shows on television because just not enough people know about it. It's so bingeable. It's like Airplane, if Airplane was a cop show. Like, it is so goofy and slapstick, and there's always room for a joke, and the pace is so stronger, and it's just like a really, really good show written by Steve Carell and his wife, I think. And that's my number 1. Sullivan and Son 2, just because, you know, Sullivan and Son, why not? Who cares about Cougar Town? A whole town of cougars, that's dangerous. Next. Suck for Sam. Obviously, the Jets are going to do that, but, you know, honestly, I'm so conflicted if the Jets draft Josh Rosen. I have to buy a Jets jersey because I'm getting a jersey with my last name on it, and I'm supporting my son any way I can. But if he's a Jet, it's just going to complicate things so hard. And now I know it's like, oh, I went to Ohio State and my son went to Michigan or something of that nature. We talk about, I think it was, if you're still in the chat, tell me who was the player that his parents wanted him to go to Alabama and he went to LSU with the hat, or the other way around. I'm almost positive it was Landon Collins, but who was that? Who was that? Yeah, it's slapstick to the highest degree. Angie Tribeca is so lit. Who did that when their mom was like visibly upset on ESPN about the hat selection? All right, what are your thoughts on Corey Coleman? Could it be a bright spot in an otherwise dark season for the Browns? I don't think the Browns season is going to be as Browns as we expect it to be. I think that with Kaiser and added balance, the Browns could really do things just because Kaiser can move in the pocket and he can make things happen when the play breaks down. Something that Kevin Hogan, Cody Kessler, McCown, Osweiler, Charlie Fry, Tim Crouch, Johnny Manziel, RG3, 15 other guys weren't able to do. So I like Corey Coleman as a number 1 there. I'm getting a lot of Kenny Britt questions over the last couple days, which is crazy because, like, how come so many people have Kenny Britt? And why are they thinking about starting in week 1? So if you're putting yourself in that kind of predicament before the first kickoff of the season, I really like to question your drafting ability. You cannot win your league on draft day, but you can lose it. That's Checkdown Philosophy. Next question. What Big Ben, Baldwin, and Coleman for Hunt and Mariota? That's a good trade or a bad trade. 14-team standard lead. Okay, so Captain Scotland, I need to know who you're getting in this trade. If you're getting Hunt and Mariota, that's a really good trade, but I need to see your receivers because you're giving up 2 startable receivers. Like Ben Mariota, not a terrible swap. Decently equal in average production. Big Ben's home road splits are literally insane. He's so much better at home than he is on the road, and that averages out with Marcus Mariota's like every week splits because he's a robot. But losing Baldwin and Coleman just for Kareem Hunt kind of sucks. I would see if he would do Ben. It depends. Kareem Hunt's going to be really good. He's not going to score 40 fantasy points every week, but he's going to be really good. Is he 2 startable wide receivers good? So 14 teams, there's not startable receivers hanging around. But like I said, there's a running back getting dressed for a football game today that we don't know about that's going to be a star. It happens every year. So process that when we're doing this. It was Landon Collins. He had 3 women pregnant at the same time. Kid's got talent. That's what it is. All right. Marshawn Lynch. Who's funnier, Tanner or Armol or C? Neither makes you giggle. Tanner makes me giggle, dude. Tanner had that one, is like the video of all his videos, and the one where the alarm's going off and he's voguing. Tanner, you're a funny kid, and when you want to do stand-up, I will be around to help you write material because you're hilarious. Marshawn Lynch or Mark Ingram, standard league, and Martavis Bryant or Larry Fitz, both standard. Third time around, maybe we'll get answered. Sounds of CSG. I'm sorry, we're having too much fun here. You're right, I'm dedicated to your cause, and I'm very sorry it took so long. Let's get this guy's question answered. First, when it comes to whoa. Chat. Marshawn Lynch or Mark Ingram standard league. I would go Marshawn Lynch. I don't know much about this matchup. I would rather choose neither, but I know Ingram. I value the Vikings defense more than I value the Titans defense, even though both are really good. Let's just get a little more headroom. When it comes to Marshawn Lynch, I'm very worried about his touches and his health, but at the same time, I do think early in the season, he is going to have good value. He's going to have good value, and he's going to be able to produce until his back goes. So if they're limiting his workload, that's not great, because there are other running backs that can move the ball there. But I think Marshawn Lynch will put up points this week. I would rather have him over Ingram. I think the Vikings are so solid. Don't at me on this. The Vikings defense might be the best defense in football right now as far as total package. Martavis Bryant or Larry Fitz, both standard. Third time around, maybe we'll get answered. Not PPR, I will go with Bryant over Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald is now working in the slot. People are saying this is going to be his major regression year where his age starts to show. I don't buy that. I think he's one of the hardest working, most prepared guys in football, and he takes really good care of himself. However, Martavis Bryant is super duper explosive, and we talked at the top of the show, Sounds. I don't know if you were here, about how the Browns have gotten torched by Antonio Brown this last bunch of games, and now that attention can go to Brown. And if you crowd up to play Bell and you cloud back to play Brown, you are completely missing Martavis Bryant. And I think he can thrive on the deep ball. He's only got to catch one in standard for you to get a profitable week and probably a better week with Larry Fitz. Okay. Scroll through the chat. Tanner is funnier than me, I'll admit that. I think Collins too. Collins indeed. Notre Dame. Nailed it. LSU Bama. Tough loss last night. Dude. Lifestyle. Bet Bills on Georgia. Love it. Good win, dude. Good win. Oh, dude. Sounds of CSG, you clown dog. Dude, what is up? So good. Okay, I just want to let you know some fish just got a few minutes of fantasy advice. My kayak bumped a log, and I dropped my phone. That is amazing. I'm very happy your phone has been recovered. Thank you for enjoying nature while I am stuck in the Checkdown studios, dispensing wisdom to the masses. You are appreciated. Keep it moving. What do you think of Corey Davis' fantasy potential? So I think Corey Davis is going to have massive fantasy potential. My biggest problem is he's dealing with a hamstring injury, and that's a lower body injury. So if I had to harken back and get a frame of reference, I would probably go back. Let's jack the audio up. I would probably go back to Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham had a low fantasy expectation for his rookie year because he sat. He sat and he sat and he sat and he didn't play until he was fully healthy. And the problem with that is that, sorry, we're getting out of whack with my view here. The problem with that is his value went way down, and I had people who were getting Odell Beckham as a last round keeper, and that, I really can't find the sweet spot with this screen. Sorry, it takes a second to catch up. So, whatever, it works. So when Corey Davis is healthy, I do see big production from him. What I don't see is a quick start, to say the least, because why wouldn't you take it easy with a big muscle group like that and someone who's so unproven, who's so young? But I do think that he is 100% the most talented rookie wide receiver. He was an absolute monster in college, and I project him being an outstanding pro wide receiver, but I want him to be healthy. I think he could totally change the face of that offense because of how explosive he is, how talented he is. They've already got Delaney Walker and Eric Decker, who are two great red zone targets. He's just as big and just as effective, and he can run the long routes. So I have Corey Davis in a bunch of leagues. I have him in my Super College Dynasty League, and I'm very excited to see what happens, but I'm keeping a very close eye on his injury status. He's someone like, you could get him in a trade right now for nothing if you're very confident in your wide receivers and just stash him forever. If you're in a keeper league, just take him and stash him forever. That's Corey Davis, man. I got him. Jets fan bias. I think the Jets defense can be decent this year. What do you think? I think he got Jets fan bias, man. Who was their best player? Sheldon Richardson. What happened to him? He's a Seahawk. That'll do. I'm done here. Jamal Adams, he might die on the field. This is a very real possibility. So, you know, if he wants it, give the man what he wants, you know? Very talented, just no young talent and no veteran talent. So, what I gathered from that is no talent. So, damn, that sucks. Leonard Williams, yeah, really good, sure. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think they're good. They're the least talented team in football. That's true. Remember, guys, we had a feature on YouTube Live called Super Chat. If you use Super Chat, your question is answered immediately, and you get to put an emoji of your choice on the emoji board. That's a thing now, and we invented it, and we're using it. So be there or be somebody else. Okay, so James White this year, stash or get rid of. I'm a big James White guy. Mike Gillislee is getting the touches. Here's the problem with the Patriots running backs. You're getting a guy who you know is not going to get anything easy. Like James White's never getting an easy touchdown. James White's probably not getting any touchdowns. Ryan, I need a super chat. Richmond, Mulligan, I need a super chat if you want to put that up there. I will put that up there. But, you know, I need a super chat. So, Superflex, Drew Brees or Tyler Breeze. I like Tyler Breeze's charisma, but Drew Brees is just too prolific statistically. So I'll go with the raw data. Take Drew Brees. Thank you, Press. Good question. Way to keep it personal. And I think I missed a question. Oh, James White. So yeah, so like you're taking a guy that is admittedly not getting touchdown opportunities. He's not going to be the guy on the 1 yard line to get the easy ones. So for PPR, it makes it really hard. For PPR, he's a roster guy. For non-PPR, it makes it really hard to rationalize his usage because you're just not making up those points anywhere. You're just grinding out 4 points, 5 points. You're never going to get 25 points from James White. His ceiling is super low if every 1 yard carry goes to Mike Gillislee. And I think that's a huge problem, but I definitely wouldn't drop him. I would try to move him, or talk him up to a friend and hope that he gets more looks. I do think he will get more looks. Dude, he caught 15 passes in a Super Bowl. They don't hate him. They don't hate him. The Patriots scheme differently every week. That's why they're so good. Shane Falco or Matt Saracen. I've been on this for a while. I cannot believe that Shane Falco had one bad game in the Sugar Bowl and he just lost all of his reputation. Like, it's insane. A quarterback has one bad game and he gets completely written off as a pro prospect. You should have been holding the clipboard that first season, Falco. They threw you in there, you got chewed up, and you became a house boat cleaner. Man, like, get on NFL Network. Like, get on SEC Network. Like, get on Sirius XM. But he just wanted to leave the game. Just wanted to flirt with bartenders. You know, honestly, can we talk about how good Falco had it? Because, okay, I know Falco was a scab, but, like, so Falco was clearly big man on campus, like dominated college football, did whatever he wanted in college. Then he goes to the pros. You think people forgot about him? Like, he was still a highly touted single quarterback with a boat. When you talk about the implications, Shane Falco did okay. Shane Falco had a pretty nice life going. Gene Hackman kind of ruined that. You know? Shane Falco wasn't lying when he said he got a good thing going. I'm an ex-pro quarterback who can leverage that in my social life, and I can just hang out on boats all day because I got paid under the table in college and I can support myself. Is that hot enough for you? Is that take hot enough for you? Shane Falco, big man on campus. Way over Saracen. Saracen's washed. Thank you. That's it. As a boyfriend, Saracen over Falco. As a quarterback, Falco, and it's not even close. Saracen just barely made the cut for me. All right, what did I miss? I would get Hunt and Mariota. My other receivers are Alshon Jeffrey, Stephon Diggs, Rashard Matthews, and Marvin Jones Jr. Dude, that's really good. Your other running backs are Bell, Procise, and Tevin Coleman? Wow. Captain, if it's PPR, you should probably pull the trigger on that. Did you tell me if it was PPR? I'm getting Hunt. It's hard to... The chat is like, when it moves, dude, that you can't scroll up. If it's PPR, I think you got to take that trade because Bell and Hunt are PPR are PPR animals. They're going to be monsters this year. I'm so excited to watch Le'Veon Bell run. Oh, standard. You're right. You're standard. Yeah, I know. How's that a 14-man team? His team is so stacked for 14-man. Is anybody else really excited to watch Le'Veon Bell run again? He's so good. He got hurt in the first quarter of the AFC Championship. Can you imagine how different the Super Bowl could have been? Can you imagine how different the AFC Championship could have been? There is one Le'Veon Bell walking the earth, and his mixtape is below average. But I cannot wait to watch him run again. I hope they run right at Myles Garrett, and I hope Le'Veon Bell shakes him and Garrett gets an ankle injury because Brown's gonna Brown. Next question. Paul Cruz fall off was real. Paul Cruz, yeah, he took the, prison route. So is it worth it to throw OBJ in my flex with Hunter Henry as a playable option on Monday Night Football if OBJ doesn't play? I have Marvin Jones and Michael Thomas in my wide receiver spots. I think that is a very good idea. I think that if you have someone else that you can play Monday, take OBJ because the coin flip is so weighted towards talent because Beckham is so good. If you have a replacement player for Monday who you think is going to perform at a flex rate, just go with Beckham. Let it rip. It's week 1, guys. Like, we can make up ground for the next 13 weeks. Like, we got time. Let's get aggressive. Let's start Rex Burkhead, and let's not eat his face on a piece of paper. And Rob Kelly's going to score a touchdown today, or I'm going to eat his face. I said it, but I didn't mean it. All right, what's next? And David Johnson. I think it's possible for DJ to go 1,000. Okay, so this is why I was taking David Johnson first overall. Not only is it possible for DJ to go 1,000, Bruce Arians wants DJ to go 1,000. They're upset that he didn't go 1,000 last year, which is awesome. When a team cares about a star player's statistical benchmarks, it just warms my fantasy heart. Then you look at, like, Bill Belichick giving 45 carries to Jonas Gray. What a schmuck. Remember Jonas Gray? Man, I hated that. So, I think DJ is consensus #1 overall pick. He's a huge part of their offense. I think the Cardinals are going to be good last year. The Cardinals caught a couple of really rough breaks last year and just didn't start right and then slipped and honestly were a huge disappointment. Carson Palmer got arm fatigue, which sucks. He didn't throw all offseason because he got arm fatigue last year. But anyway, okay, we got a moment. Let's move over and let's do Arizona Iced Tea Power Rankings. The chat is lit. Y'all have been great. Fired up. So every week on the Checkdown, we do a power rankings, a not football power rankings, because why not, If you don't rank stuff, how will anybody know what's better than other things? So it's really important that we know that this is definitive right now. What I'm about to do is not up for debate at all. So let's pop this out. Splat out. Arizona Iced Tea Camp Power Rankings. If you have music at home, I suggest you play it. YouTube rights are fickle. So let's start with number 5. First of all, we did 5-1. There's a lot of drinks that we can leave off of this list. There are the AIDS, there are the punches, there's watermelon, which is just such a bad decision because you have $1. You can get literally any flavor. And if you go with watermelon, I just gotta question your life choice. So, and anything with RX. Can you believe that they're still putting RX on cans and haven't gotten sued? Like, doesn't RX mean medicine? But then, like vitamin water got sued, right? So where's that coming from? Where people can just go with putting prescription on their cans. Anyway, let's start the list. All right, let's start the list. At number 5, mango. 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 Mango is interesting because it is the best of the fruit juices. You don't get mango in a lot of other flavors. I compare it to Snapple Mango Madness, except Arizona is a superior mango beverage. So it's mango over grape, mango over orangeade. Nice, Tim. Nice. Everybody put a song, everybody in the chat type a song that you're listening to that can go over our Arizona iced tea power rankings. You know, because YouTube writes. What am I going to do here? All right. So, Arizona Iced Tea Power Rankings. Number 5 is mango. Great fruit flavor. It's a great chaser. Has good sugar content, but doesn't feel like it's too much like candy. Like the watermelon just feels like a melted Jolly Rancher. At number 4, classic iced tea. Whoa. All right. That's regular, peach, raspberry. If I give someone $1 and say, hey, can you get me one? Dealer's choice. Can you just grab me in Arizona? If they pulled me a regular, a lemon, raspberry, or peach, like, I'm not going to be upset. I'm going to be thankful, but I'm just be like, you didn't really try. You didn't really try to get to know me or think about what I want as a person. You didn't think about my needs. You just thought about your expedience in doing this chore. Just be a friend. Step up. And get me something like number 3. Sweet tea. It's such a subtle change, but it makes such a big difference because sweet tea takes the tea flavor and just brings it to a level that was previously unforeseen. And it's a really important component in the tea world. I'm moving the camera a little bit because I'm like cutting stuff off. So sweet tea is cold might be the best one. An ice cold sweet tea is insane. And then you can pour that on ice. Like if you don't pour your Arizona iced tea over ice, it's a little component that you're missing that I think, no, peach isn't number 1 because peach is in the classic iced tea category. It's a grouping. It's a food group. Classic iced tea. Sweet tea number 2. Everyone pretty much is aware of what's left, so I'm going to go a little bit faster here. Number 2 is half and half. Now, the half and half family of products is one of the greatest things on the planet. Arnold Palmer's a legend, but you also there's a half raspberry, there's a half green tea lemonade that we've talked about, there's a half strawberry, there's green tea and strawberry lemonade, different lemonades and different teas. They all fall into the half and half family of products, which I'm a big fan of. Obviously, that is not always what people like. So, yep, unsubscribe. There we go. We're losing them. But half and half, I think, is the second best tier of Arizona products. I'll tell you why my choice for number 1 is number 1. I'll tell you why green tea is number 1. Because of the cultural impact on green tea. If your can of tea inspires a clothing line, you're clearly doing something right. I'll be a hack for green tea because it's just that good. And it's a superior product. There's no other green tea like that. Green tea is also kind of a luxury product. So I'm getting something that's very classy and I'm only paying $1. It's a very, very provocative. Exactly. People have been drinking tea for 700 years. Green tea is a staple in culture. And just come on, man. This can is gorgeous. Look at this thing. Look at this. Look at this. I'll wear this as pants. I'll wear this as a shirt. I'll have this as a tote bag. First of all, you guys know Skip Bayless actually has a brother named Rick, right? Like Rick Bayless is a real person. I think he was the White House chef for a little bit. So, you know, there is a Rick Bayless. But look at this thing. Are you kidding me? Like ginseng and honey? That's herbal. That's a real luxury drink right there. Bunch of no-class, slack-jawed yokels. Listen, I got $1. This is what I'm buying. I don't care what you think because this is definitive. Let me know in the comments. Tell a friend I'm a jerk. Yeah, this is the water cooler conversation on Monday. Oh, hey, hey, Rick had a fantasy football show. You watch it? Yeah, I'll send you a clip. This is what it looked like. I'm embarrassed. You guys don't like the list. That's okay. Yeah, my list is on fire. There it is. But at least there's only 99 cents. Shit, it was 99 cents. Rocking it, popping it, about to go and get some moccasins. Macklemore's washed and his haircut is disrespectful. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed green tea. Send me what you want to talk about next week. It's really easy. Send me the rankings and we'll talk about the rankings. Call into the show and we'll talk about the rankings. You know what? I'm opening FaceTime. We're taking a call. We're taking a call. The first person to call me right now is going to get to yell at me about the iced tea power rankings. I'm out here. Do your worst. I'll sip my green tea like Kermit. He's green drinking tea, but his tea is probably green, okay? Because, you know, it ain't easy being green. The tea would know. I'm out here. Give me a call. You know the number. You know what it is. I ain't going nowhere. We got another hour here on the Checkdown. I got lineups. Strong. I gotta make bets. Strong. I wanted to do DraftKings. It ain't happening. Super excited for football. Yo, there's 13 football games starting in an hour. Are you kidding me? This is outrageous. This is outrageous. Yeah, nobody's calling. Nobody's calling to talk iced tea power rankings. That's right. That means the people love it. The people have spoken. So, you know, Penny Royalty just came on. That's awesome. Let's talk about the Titans next week. What do you want to talk about? What do you mean you want to talk about the Titans? Oh, top 5 Timisms. That's really good. That'd be my number 1. That's my number 1. What is this? Who did this? Stonehenge. Classic. Talk about infinity pools. Another one. That may be 3. It's a sleeper. There's only 8 games on at 1, but there are 13 games between now and tomorrow night, you dingus. There's 13 games to talk about. There's 13 games to gamble on. Man, there's 8 games at 1. That's still like so awesome. There's 8 NFL games that count at 1 o'clock. Yo, oh, I'm starting to schwitz. I'm starting to schwitz on the Checkdown. Suhu's a Titans fan, in case I haven't noticed. Well, you know, it's nice to finally hear him after 4 years of quiet, or since 2001, maybe. They almost got in, man. Kevin Dyson almost got in. 3-team parlay: Falcons, Bears, Panthers, Lions over Cardinals. Yeah, I would obviously be worried about the Lions. I don't know why that would be. Why don't you just make it a 2-team parlay and bet more? That just feels like it would make sense. I'll take a Falcons Panthers parlay right now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right now. Debt consolidation, gambling. Debt consolidation, gambling. All right, nobody called, so I'm gonna close FaceTime because it's coming up the works. But when I'm out here, believe me when I'm saying I'm really, really out here. Scott, give me 1 second because I'm really gonna throw this parlay in right now, and because I believe in the chat. I believe in the Checkdown community. And I believe that if you super chat, I will put whatever emoji you want up on that board. That's a GDMF fact. All right? So 5 dimes is open. We're going to make a parlay. We're going to make a Falcons Panthers parlay, and I'm very excited about that. Steelers too? No. Who's a streamable RB you would start over CJ Anderson, half PPR? I mean, streamable week 1 is honestly really sketchy because we're working with nothing. But if any Bengals running back is available, like if Gio Bernard's available, he's got good burst. It's hard, man. We don't know anything. It's week 1, and we're down, I mean, Bucks and Dolphins. Like, we're down 2 teams. As far as streamable, I'd have to have you go to your league and post the top 5 available running backs. Hill and Bernard are there. I'd take Jeremy Hill. There's only one running back that's scored at least 7 touchdowns in 3 straight seasons. Only one in the entire NFL. It's Jeremy Hill. Yo, you think I'm really not out here doing this? I'm really, really out here. Falcons minus 280. Ba boo boo ba boo ba hoo hoo ha hoo. Panthers minus 210. Yo, I'm really, 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 really out here. I will do this. I'm locking it in, man. I only got an hour. They got an hour to lock it in. Okay, nice. Oh, Pro-Size is there too. Pro-Size is really provocative, man. And if it's PPR, Vereen is going to see a significant amount of touches. Vereen's going to see way more touches than people think he does. Oh, you noticed my N64 back here. Oh, you done did it. Hold on, let me lock this parlay in. I'll put a healthy amount on this. I like this parlay. I don't think the Bears are any good, so that makes it easy. And I think the Panthers are very good. Oh, dude, that's a great deal. That's a great... Yaz, that's even money. That's even money. There's only one game here. Sorry if I'm blowing up the mic. There's only one game. There's only one game. There's only one game. The game of games. And if you want the work, you know where to find me. Whenever, wherever. Pop that in. Just to make sure it works when you want this work. If Conker's bad for a day, you know my mom wouldn't let me get that. Come on, man. It had the restricted on it. Will I be at the Chiazza residence tonight? That's an awful personal question. This is my money gig. This is my job. I will probably not. Chelsea's got an engagement, and I will probably be meeting up with her later. Plus, I'm not good watching the Giants. Like, I've decided that I really don't enjoy watching the Giants in public spaces, even if it's somebody else's house. There's things that I want to look at and say out loud, and like I don't want to bother people. Chelsea's gonna get mad, but she's also not gonna she's not gonna be like pay the refs guy who I just really can't stand. Oh really, Chelsea? That's true. We did fish it out of storage. We did fish it out of storage. Chelsea climbed over like 6 boxes to get Smash on N64, which is, you know, some people say it's not enough of a sacrifice. Some would say, I would shed blood for a copy of Super Smash Bros. On Nintendo 64. I'm very confident about that. It is the noon hour. Let's bump it, dude. Let's bump the theme. Let's bump it louder. The Checkdown is in its final hour. On its first ever show, the maiden voyage. We've done a lot of good things and we're not done. You guys hear this? That's the very talented Chuck Salamone. You can find the link to his music on this page, and he's got other stuff. We're going to be working on great sounds throughout the year. Man, there is just a bunch of talented people around me making this happen. If the Checkdown was an offense, I'd be a system quarterback, guys. I'm really just out here playing off good teammates and a good system, man. I'm running the playbook to perfection, and I appreciate you joining with me on this maiden voyage. I hope you guys are having fun. This has been a blast, and I'm super excited we got an hour left. During the actual season, this is going to be a very important time in the show because final injury reports are released 1 hour before kickoff. So we're going to be tracking that throughout the show, the biggest questionables, the biggest game time decisions, and we're going to be able to make evaluations based on those decisions and those tweets. So get ready to see a lot of like this where I'm like aggressively searching through Twitter to try to find like Twitter.com doesn't want to be a guy for me right now. Kareem Hunt's available as a free agent in someone's league. Matthew Berry gets a lot of idiots in his mentions. Unbelievable. So yeah, I will be scrolling like this. I'll have a Twitter list just for beat writers and injuries. I mean, this shot worked out well production-wise. We're living. So it's It's interesting. This is going to be a very important time of the show moving forward. But now we know the injuries. We know Jamison Crowder's got a hip thing, but he's going to play. Odell Beckham is the only injury we're really talking about. See, the thing... Okay, so here's the thing about Adam Schefter. He's great at breaking stories. He's broken a lot of stories. He's also, in the last couple months, gotten increasingly more clickbaity, and I'm 99% sure he's being told to send more push notifications because it drives traffic to the app. However, that discredits his own journalism. Like, that's not fair to us, and we're hanging on his every word. Is Odell doubtful? Probably, because if Odell's not 100%, Odell doesn't play because he's incredibly physical, both as a blocker and a route runner, and he needs to be 100%. Why am I going in on Schefter? Because I just told you, because he posts misleading things as ESPN push notifications to millions of people, and that's dangerous journalism. I can't go back right now through all of his push notifications, but also it's because I've subscribed to a lot of other push notifications. So I can't go through just his push notifications. But someone just hit me up on Facebook Messenger, and I'm going to yell at them right now. How do you see all my Facebook posts and my statuses, and then you're going to hit me up on Facebook Messenger? Like, obviously I'm going to help you. Like, I love everyone, and I really want you guys to watch the show. Like, come on, man, help me help you. Help me help you. Help me help you. ESPN said Odell unlikely to play. That's super, super true because, you know, lower body injury. Odell needs to be on. This is the same guy that sat out almost his entire rookie season when Tom Coughlin was coming down on him to play. And he said, I'm not going to play until I'm 100%. And that was when we knew nothing about it. He just had 12th overall pick stock. So that's going from someone who had no track record. Now he has a track record. He's definitely not going to play unless he's 100% ready because he knows how valuable he is and he knows he's a target once he steps onto the field. So I do think it's important you have a contingency plan for Odell Beckham tonight. I wouldn't be starting him unless, like someone else posted earlier, if you have an option for Monday night that you can make the flip at 7 p.m. tonight, that's a totally different story. My caps lock is on heavy. Sorry, guys. I'm out here. I'm out here. And that is my hotkey. Wow. Wow. We're technically learning. We're learning lots of stuff about production. Now you get to see how I see the chat, though. So, yeah, I have hotkeys for my... Oh, it was backslash. Oh, backslash is routed. Who types backslash? Only when Presser asks me if he's getting chipotes. That's a thing. But, you know, we keep it moving here. We got 54 minutes. Questions pretty much dried out. That's okay. Let's go back to our schedule today and see what we missed. Ow. Red zone drinking game. This is really important. The first is you have to, if there's a punt, you have to drink for the duration of that play. Okay? That's important. This should have its own graphic. This should be a much longer segment. If it's a punt, you got to drink for the duration of that graphic. If it's a multi-box, you have to drink the many seconds corresponding to the boxes. So if Scott goes... Sorry, my mic's way up. If Scott goes double box, you got to drink for 2 seconds. If it's 3:30 and he's going quad box, that's a 4-second drink. I think this is a really fun game. If there is a graphic, you got to drink. Something on the bottom about last year. Every time they go back to Scott Hansen in the studio, or the other guy if you're watching on DirecTV, every time they cut away from football and go back to the studio, you got to drink. This is a really good game, and I'm going to get you wasted today. Mark my words. If you need a refresher on the rules, I'm here. So let's drink for boxes. Drink for punts. Drink for Scott. Those are 3 really good commandments to live by. That's the official word of heavy.com that everybody needs to know. Ben's got one more question. Scott's got a question. Ben's got a question. And we're going to answer them. Sproles. Oh, I didn't even see that, y'all. Sorry. Sproles, Lacy, or Tevin Coleman in the flex? PPR. That's a really good question. Tevin Coleman has high upside today. We talked about it earlier on the show. It's not a great defense in Chicago. I do think that Eddie Lacy is primed for a 20 to 25 carry game, strictly based on what Pete Carroll's saying about him and Thomas Rawls' injury. They like Procise, they like Carson, but ultimately Lacy will be the 3-down guy, the short yardage guy. He's a factor in the passing game. Drink for Aaron Rodgers on a TD pass is really good. So I would definitely go with Lacy if I had to pick one. Sproles, you know the deal with Sproles. If he touches the ball 5 times, he's going to have a nice game, but that's really hard to come by for him. And if we're not scoring return yards, it's not going to be easy. So it's really rough. All right, Ben, I'm with you. I have one more lineup queue. I'm 99% locked in on one of these guys, but I'll be open-minded and listen. Carr or Dalton at quarterback? So I feel like you're locked in on Carr. That makes sense. Derek Carr's been really good. He's benefited from a good offensive line. The Titans have a really good defense. It'll be interesting to see if he loses touchdowns because they're going to lean on a more physical run game. But overall, I think that they're almost an equal play. I am going to go Carr here because the Raiders, especially on the road, have a propensity to get into high-scoring games. And similarly, the Bengals, when they play a divisional game, have a propensity to engage in low-scoring games. They really drag it out against teams like the Steelers and the Ravens, which has always been a fantasy nightmare because the Bengals and Steelers are teams with loaded in fantasy talent. So, Tanner, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Keep your phone open to keep the views up. You know what we're all about. So I really think Carr is the more talented option. He's got better options around him. I love that you have Dalton as your matchup guy. So weeks you can go with Dalton. Don't forget, you're getting 2 games against the Browns. What more could you ask for, you know? Keep it moving. I'm missing Coleman or Terrence West. Oh my God, I went right over that. So I would go with Terrence West here. If it's not PPR, Coleman's a pass catching specialist. As terms of the split between him and Freeman, it's very likely that Coleman's going to come onto the field just to run inside. And if he did, it's just to set up a swing or something on the outside for later because schematically it's not where you would use a player like Tevin Coleman. On the other side, I do think Terrence West is going to touch the ball 20 times today. And just based on the usage, I think Terrence West is a much better option. Thank you so much, Scott, for popping into the show today. Please tell a friend. Tell them how much fun you had. And let's keep doing this. We got 50 minutes. We're going right up until kickoff, baby. Yeah, I might end it early, man. I love saying 10 to 1 because 10 to 1's so flat and everyone's like, ooh, 3 hours. But we are really, really out here. Let's tweet. Let's tweet the link. Let's tweet the link in the chat. And then let's make it pop because honestly, there's no point in not. So, wow. Tell the people. Tell the people. Tell the people. My tweet has been posted. View it on Twitter. Oh, joy, mummy. My tweet is on the Twitter. Sorry. If Twitter had a different name, would it be more popular? I don't know. Saying tweeting is really fun, though. Saying I'm tweeting is more funny than it is like it's not what a journalist would say. Like, I'm tweeting. But if you're like, sorry, I got into an accident, I was sending a tweet. Like, that's funny. That's just the way you say it is a funny word. Okay. We need more stuff. Juking the stats. This season 3 of The Wire. No, man. It's not season 3 of The Wire because I'm watching it right now. So just on that fact alone, it's not. Captain Scott, is it okay if I go with Terrence West as my second arm back? Coleman or Diggs in the flex? Bow out. Bow out. Standard. Diggs or Coleman. Wow. It's really hard to tell what the Vikings passing attack's going to do. I love Diggs. I love him as a talented player, but schematically he makes me nervous. If it's not PPR, I'd probably still go Diggs because I think there's a better chance you're going to score a touchdown. If Coleman takes one screen pass for 60 yards and a touchy, you're going to hate me. But that's the boomer bust nature of Tevin Coleman because he is second banana. Stephon Diggs, number 1 option. If they go to throw, they're going to throw to him. If they go in the red zone, they got a good matchup. You want new emojis on emoji board? If you want new emojis on emoji board, you know how to get them. You know how to get more emojis on the emoji board. We know. The rules are plainly established. I have Evan Engram on my practice squad. Likely won't play this year. Maybe next year. Thoughts on long-term value? Outstanding long-term value. You cannot coach Evan Engram's body. He looks bigger than everybody else. He doesn't block well, but when he gets his arms extended, you can't do much. He's going to work into space, and he's going to get a stiff arm on a safety, and he's going to get first downs. He's got soft hands. He's got range. He's faster than people think. I think Evan Engram could end up being better than Jeremy Shockey and be like in contention for best Giants tight end ever. He's not really a tight end. He's a way bigger wide receiver. He's like if Brandon Marshall were 40 pounds heavier, you'd be like, oh, that's a tight end. But because Evan Engram played tight end in college, he was split off, but he wasn't. That's amazing. Someone fraudulated you. Can we get some new emojis on the emoji board? I love Evan Engram, if you can't tell, as I wax poetic about him for the upteenth time. I'm a big fan of his game, and I'm a big fan of how he can operate in the Giants system. The Giants ran more 3-wide than anybody else in the league last year, so that would hurt the tight end, but I think... Oh, no. So obviously, when they show the punt, you're not going to be ready. You're not going to be ready for the whole clip. So we can do when the ball leaves the foot until the end of the play, right? So if it's a fumble, it's going to be quicker. But if it's a long touchdown return, you have to drink through the return because those are a little bit longer and it's exciting. That's the best thing about the punts on Red Zone. It's a production device because it's the only thing like you don't know if it's going to be a good result or a bad result because 99% of the time it's mundane. So it's exciting. So why not make it more exciting by getting alcohol in there? Drank. Armels clearly does not like Engram, and that is okay by me because he's got Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and if you want to do Jenkum, you go ahead and do Jenkum, my man. Be yourself. But I like Evan Engram. Ben, I think having him on your roster is a super heady play. Stashing him until next year may be even too long of a long play. I think given the Giants' talent and where they're lining up and what they like to do, I think Evan Engram could be a very big impact player, especially in the red zone. He is so big. I can't state this enough. And that causes a huge problem. You saw with the absolute monster that Gronk was, and Eric Berry still took him down. Evan Engram's built the same way, but he's longer. He's good. He's very, very good. Okay, phone lines drying up. I'm going to fire away a couple more roster questions. Is Cole Beasley at all useful? Cole Beasley has big-time PPR utility in leagues that are 12 or more. Yo, thank you. Someone got the Jenkum. Thank you. Just floating things. Yo, this is the strategy on the Checkdown. I just take these little jokes. I float them out there. It's little inside baseball. If you're with it, you're going to think the show is funny. And if you don't, you're going to think the show is flipping weird. That's the way it works. That's the way the Checkdown operates. So Cole Beasley is really good in underneath routes. He's not the vertical guy. He's not the first down guy, like run to the marker and turn around. He's not the jump ball guy. He's not the red zone guy. But he is the drag route guy. The underneath, in front of the linebackers guy that will mess with safeties and exploit gaps in coverage. So for PPR, I think he's almost guaranteed between 3 and 5 catches a game just because of his role in the offense and the attention that you have to pay to Dez and the run game itself. Like, Cole Beasley is devastating in play action because he's faster than linebackers. So you're moving him around to exploit matchups. In 10-team leagues, there's so much talent that it really doesn't matter. But in 12 and above, you're always going to get it. You're always going to have to find additional talent. And in PPR, he's a low ceiling guy, but he has the ability to produce. Touchdowns is something I'm worried about because if Cole Beasley gets tackled at the 1, Zeke's going in the next play. Or maybe Darren McFadden. That's a whole nother story. You know, we thought things were going to happen legally. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't comment on it. But I do think in deeper leagues, Cole Beasley absolutely has merit. Facts. What else are we going to do today? What else are we going to do today? Did we do anything else today? Last minute ads? CJ Prosise was one of those good ones. Evan Ingram's another one of those good ones. We talked about these are guys that are most likely available, and I would consider starting today if you really needed to. If you're in a bind, that sucks that you're in a bind week 1. I'd like to help you, but here's where we go. Something we didn't talk about is like what I want to see most today. Again, those rookie running backs, man. I think those rookie running backs are really going to show out. And we got a couple of questions. Okay. Alright, roll back. Top PPR player of 2017. Who you got? Oh, that's Le'Veon Bell. That's very easy. Big part of the offense. Great after the catch. Running, catching, not just in touches, but in what he does with those touches. Most exciting player to watch in football, play to play, is Le'Veon Bell. If Jared Goff figures it out, he absolutely has fantasy value. It starts with Todd Gurley. If they can keep feeding Gurley, that's going to start the play action. But right now, defenses have no reason to respect the play action because Goff is inaccurate and indecisive. If either of those things change, he has immediate value because he has a strong running game, a decent defense, and for the first time, not only a stud wide receiver, but a sound slot receiver in Cooper Kupp. I think the Rams offense is positioned for success everywhere except under center. So once everything else gets settled and Goff finds his footing, listen, he's not a number 1 overall pick. He's never going to play like that. But if he can be functional, he definitely has fantasy value. In 2 quarterback leagues, I don't see how he doesn't get a roster spot just because of attrition, just because there's not a lot of guys there. But there will be a time when he's going to have a good matchup, or you're going to have to start him, and he's going to do something. He's yet to win a game in the NFL. That's going to change this year. He might win today against a Scott Tolzien experience. Fantasy value is a different thing, though, because that boy's got to step up. He's got to make his throws. Todd Gurley is not the guy who's going to take the screen and run for him. Jared Goff's got to be more than Chad Pennington. He's got to move the ball. He's got to get off of short throws. He's got to learn to read coverage. And those things have been problematic in his first run as pro quarterback. It sucks. I want him to have fantasy values. I want everyone to have fantasy value. Absolutely, it makes the game more fun. But it is frustrating. It's frustrating. Frustrating. Half PPR. Marvin Jones or John Brown. So I like Marvin Jones this week. I like him to start strong like he did last year. I love John Brown because John Brown needs 1 catch to be fantasy relevant. He is the fastest person on the field today when the Cardinals meet the Lions. He is the best athlete on the team, I think. I think if he's healthy, he's very, very dangerous. I think if he's 100% healthy, he is Marvin Harrison, and that's a Hall of Famer. I think John Brown is so good, and he got derailed by sickle cell last year. We forgot how good he was. I hope he catches a 70-yard touchdown today, or I'm a breakdance. Tim, college football was in fact yesterday. I got Mixon and Hill. Do I handcuff? I wouldn't handcuff. You don't really have the roster space to handcuff, and I think inevitably Mixon's going to win that job, and Hill will do some short yardage work, forcing Bernard out of the mix either as trade bait or to get cut because his contract is up. It's a business. Flex, Paul Perkins or Pierre Garçon. Kirkman, welcome to the show. I already mentioned I will eat a picture of Rex Burkhead if he doesn't score 6 touchdowns. That was partly for you, bud. Thanks for popping in. I really, really appreciate it. Paul Perkins is going to see a lot of work tonight, but I think that people are discounting just how much work he shares with Shane Vereen because Shane Vereen spent so much time sidelined last year, and he's old, and so we kind of forget like his production and back burner it. I really think if it's PPR, Pierre Garçon's probably your better bet. He's so good. He just finds ways of getting open. The Panthers' coverage has really lacked since Josh Norman left. They're just, they had trouble stopping teams pretty much week in and week out last year. And I think Garçon can get a little space. It's tough, but I don't see any game-breaking potential out of Perkins the way I see big play potential out of Garçon. Garçon's my guy in that specific choice. If Dak struggles, do you think Cooper Rush has a chance at taking over at QB for the Cowboys? Never. 0% chance. Barring injury, Dak Prescott is the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I hate to bring that on you. Cooper Rush is a very, very formidable backup. He's going to learn the system. He's going to build value the same way Jimmy Garoppolo does, but he is in no position to start. Dak Prescott is the starter. Dak Prescott showed a lot of people last year that he deserves to be the starter. And, the dude took Tony Romo's job away. Like, in Cowboys history, can you think about how big that is? He took Tony Romo's job away. He's going to be there for a while. Get used to it. I'm okay with him. He seems like a nice guy. whatever. I hope he lays on the ground a lot tonight. PPR, Mixon or Jonathan Stewart today. This is really about snap counts, and it makes me nervous. The PPR directly influences Jonathan Stewart because he's losing all of his short yardage passing attempts. Everything that he got in a swing pass, he's getting ready to forfeit to Christian McCaffrey. So in a PPR, I'm probably going to go with Mixon, but I'm I'm cautiously excited about it because I know how talented Joe Mixon is, but he's third on the depth chart. Is Marvin Jones doing that on purpose? And he's going to give 20 touches to Joe Mixon. I honestly want him to. I want Joe Mixon to be a stud today, but I have no confidence just based on our early rankings and coach speak. But it's like garbage, you know? But hey, this is what we do, man. We gut check it. This is what we do. For 35 minutes of kickoff, boys. Ha, ha, ha. Thoughts on Corey Coleman. So, we talked about this earlier in the show. I got a lot of questions about Kenny Britt this year, and I just didn't understand it because I think Corey Coleman is going to be the stud receiver to own in Cleveland. He's a deep ball threat. He's a go-get-it guy, and that's what Deshaun Kaiser needs. Kaiser needs to let it rip and stretch the defense and be vertical and take chances that aren't out routes that turned into pick sixes. I think Corey Coleman is a very, very good receiver that people are sleeping on, and I wouldn't necessarily start him this week. It's Kaiser's first game, even though I do think there's a very good chance Coleman scores. I want Corey Coleman on my team this year. That's what I'll say now. Dude, there are so many rookies today. It just makes it so difficult to project. Season long, we can think about it a little bit more, but as far as what's happening today, it's just really tough to project. Joe Mixon, third on the depth chart, could be such a sucker punch move by Marvin Jones because we know how talented he is. The dude doesn't deserve to be third string. It's insane. Ryan Burns is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. But hey. Oh, the But Hey stuff is next week. The But Hey is the Must Be Nice Awards. That starts next week. There's not enough content today to do the Must Be Nice Awards because there was only one football game. But backup tight end for the Chiefs that caught a touchdown. Must be nice. That's how that segment basically works. Okay, I missed something about the handcuff lottery. Soup in hand. What's up, Soup in hand? Thanks for popping into the check down. DeAndre Washington or Matt Breida for handcuff lottery. I actually like both of those guys for handcuff lottery. DeAndre Washington is more of a known. Matt Breida is more of a camp guy. The 49ers are not as good. So I would take... If I had to keep one, I would keep Washington. I would probably roster neither, but keep a very close eye on both and on their snap counts and on how their starters are performing. And so if Matt Breida is in the game, is it third down? Is it a passing down? If Matt Breida is in 5 times, are they all pass plays? Okay, so they like the way Matt Breida blocks. If they, and they're going to dictate. Like the Patriots, every time Pat Devlin was in the game for the Patriots, they ran the ball. Like, why else would the Patriots have a fullback? Sometimes players dictate the play unintentionally. How big will the Burkhead paper be? I mean, I'm gonna print out Burkhead and eat it. Like, it was in the thing. It was in the thing. We talked about this. It was in the thing. Thoughts on Zach Ertz. So Zach Ertz in the second half of the season was, I believe, the #1 tight end in fantasy. His average over the back end of the season was absolutely ridiculous, and experts want to extrapolate the data. But that's just not realistic in the fantasy world. I do, however, think that he is a favorite to be one of the top tight ends in fantasy because he's built up really strong early rapport with... He's built up good rapport with Carson Wentz early, and that's really important. And then Jordan Matthews is gone. So we got targets off the board. There's a lot of new faces in Philly, but they are not the same kind of faces that do what Zach Ertz does. Like Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith want to work the sidelines. Zach Ertz wants to work the middle of the field. I think this is going to be the best season of Zach Ertz's career. And I am totally high on him. He got snagged earlier than I wanted to grab him in all my drafts, but I sadly think he's right now probably the #1 tight end to own in the NFC East. Jason Witten, does he disintegrate on the field this year? No, I don't think so. I think statistically, yes. I think he's a better blocker. I think once Rico Gathers gets healthy, he's probably the likely usurper of, he probably retires Jason Witten in that sense. But I think that Jason Witten is just as important just being on the Cowboys roster than he is like as the starting tight end. I think that's an important thing to consider. So Witten, no longer a fantasy guy, but he's an important guy to the Cowboys. And that's an important thing we do on this show, is like, the check down is about fantasy within an NFL tactical concept. We're talking about what teams are trying to do and how that impacts our weekly fantasy matchups. Like, we talk about the Chiefs matched up Eric Berry solo on Gronk all day, took him out of the game. The Patriots did a similar thing with Travis Kelce, took Kelce out of the game and tried to keep Tyreek Hill in front of them. Just keep him in front with soft zones. He got behind them, obviously, one time, but they cramped him on it, so they took him out of the game. So they lost. So it's about schemes and what we're trying to do. That's why when you see a team with 3 running backs, 4 running backs, they could just go with the one that's either hot or the one they like best on the matchup. It changes all the time. But there's a lot of that stuff to keep an eye on this week. We might have to do like a post wrap up in the middle of the week about what we learned from week 1, because man, we learned a lot. You know, we had fun. There's 13 games. I've already learned stuff from Thursday night. Kareem Hunt's a stud. And if you don't have him, you're not winning your league this year. I am. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm getting from the control room that we are getting a live look-in on Blake Bortles warming up on the field. We're doing this bit again. Oh, no. Oh, no. They're playing the Texans. They're a 5-point dog. Oh, that's not how you start your season, Blake. Blake, you threw it to the flats. It's a pick 6, Blake. Nobody throws more pick 6s than Blake. Oh, no. Wow. They just got their... Everybody's 0-0, but the Jaguars, their 0-0 is not the same as everybody's 0-0. How many times can I do the same bit, you ask? I can't do that bit enough. There aren't enough bad teams in the NFL for me to do that bit enough. I need more videos of things on fire so I can do that bit more. Plus, like, people are coming in and out. If you haven't seen that bit before, that's fresh. That's great. Like, I know Burns is just catching that bit for the first time. As many as it takes. That's it. I'm not in it for numbers. Nobody's counting. I'm in it for yucks. And I think the timing was good. By the way, I finished BoJack Season 3 last night. Man, that show's good. I was up till like 6 a.m. watching BoJack. So good. Ugh. I can't wait to start Season 4. But, 9 hours of football. What are you going to do? So... half an hour left, guys. We're in the final half hour of the Checkdown, episode 1, week 1. It's been an amazing show today. We talked about... I don't binge watch. Dude, it took me I just finished season 3. How did I binge watch? I just finished it. It came out a year ago. But I did watch like 4 episodes last night because I felt myself getting to the end of season 3. And I really wanted to just I felt like every end of season 3 was loaded towards the end, man. Those last 2 episodes were crazy. So, it is what it is. We're trying. 4's nothing, man. That's 2 hours of BoJack. That's nothing. Back in the 90s, I was on a famous TV show. We got less than a half an hour. Let's bang this music and bring this on home. I wonder if I turn the mic, does that make it better? Oh, I got my fancy microphone here. Flip it. Half an hour left. Week 1. Ah, the microphone of justice. I wonder if that lined up to the music. The whole stream delay really fucks with me. Really fucks with me. There's just a slight delay. Again, that music's by Chuck Salamone. The link to his band Amigos Amigos is down at the bottom. That bangs, man. I don't care. That bangs. I love it. So, Dan Kirk, here's how it works. We got this thing called Super Chat. It's a microtransaction. You pay money, you ask a question. I answer your question immediately with no hesitation. I pull the cord on the bus, and we immediately stop, and we talk about what you want to talk about. And then you get to add an emoji to the emoji board. And everybody loves them. We got a thumbs up and we got a pickle. And that's how that's what the day goes. Finishing strong here, boys. We love it. Beckham is on the shelf. Does Shepard become a wide receiver 1? I don't think so. I don't think he's that kind of guy. I think in PPR he's got value. I'd probably start him if I didn't have any other options. If I had Beckham and Shepard both rostered and I knew Beckham was out, I'd probably roster Shepard, but only because I need to. 100% because I want to. Kevin White or Kendall Wright going to be more productive for the Bears in week 1. I like Kendall Wright. Kendall Wright is a very solid receiver when healthy. He's super injury prone, but he is a very, very good receiver, and the Bears need him. The Bears need him really bad. I was so hype on Cameron Meredith this year. I'm so sad for him, but Kendall Wright is going to be... I mean, you shouldn't be starting a Bears receiver week 1. Bears receivers week 1 is a watch and learn and just figure out where we are in terms of healthy offense, an NFL offense and what they're capable of. At 1 p.m., I'm going to watch Steelers Browns. I'm going to watch Raiders Titans probably, and I'm going to watch Red Zone. I was like, what other games would I watch today? At 1, I'll probably keep an eye on, like, I don't cover the AFC South anymore, but I really am interested to see what Houston does. The most interesting matchup to me is Oakland, Tennessee, because I do believe those are 2 playoff teams, outside wildcard teams. Like, that matchup's going to matter at the end of the season. Arizona, Detroit is also a fascinating matchup. I try not to buy into the whole West Coast team flying east for an early start, but it's really rough for the Cardinals to start their season like that. And, I mean, Oakland's the same way. It's a super long road trip to start the season and an early start to boot. It's really not fair, but, those are the games I'm going to be interested in. I'm probably going to box it, quad box, or things of that nature. So, Giants tonight, I mean, nobody makes me more nervous than the New York Football Giants. Oh, I'm still doing split. Sorry, guys. Nobody makes more nervous than the New York Football Giants. If anything, it's crazy to think that we were going with Beckham, no Zeke, 2 weeks ago, and now that script has totally flipped, and that is nauseating to say the least. But I think what's really important is that the Giants did a great job against the Dallas offense in 2 games last year. OBJ's not going to play, Ethan. I'm very sorry. OBJ is a game-time decision, and even if he is a coin flip decision, he's too physical a player to risk it on a lower body injury. He is going to want to sit. And we should respect that, because when he's 100%, he's the best wide receiver in football. I said it. But I think the Giants have a really good chance tonight because of the way they play defense. I think their defense is so underrated. Landon Collins is a man-child. JPP has defensive player of the year in his sights, and he's healthy and strong, and he's going to anchor that line. They're going to run. Like, if JPP's on one side and Landon Collins is on the other, where do you run? You probably don't. You probably call play action. And as long as Janoris Jenkins shuts down Dez, like, Cole Beasley's the guy that scares me because he's unaccounted for. So when it gets to matchups, I think the Giants defense matches up really well with the Cowboys offense. I don't think the Cowboys have the players to match up with the Giants if Beckham's healthy. But if Beckham's not healthy, I think the Giants have an offense probably in the bottom third of the league, because he is just such a fire starter on the outside. He's so dynamic. He's so electric that makes a massive difference. And when you talk about Giants-Cowboys, the margin of error is so small always. The spread is 4, and it makes me super nervous. But if I'm the Giants and I'm getting 4 points, I'm going to take it because the Giants are going to make that game close, whether they're in it or not. They're going to make it close to the end, or they're going to blow it. Amir Abdullah or Robbie Anderson standard. I like Abdullah here. Robbie Anderson plays for the Jets. Usually that's enough for me. But since Kearse joined the team, I'm just not so sure he's like, if you're going to start a Jet, start this Jet. I like Amir Abdullah's hype that's been building for like a couple years now, that we just are never going to get a fair shot at this guy. But indoors, on the turf, starting job is his. They've said they want to get him involved. I like Abdullah, and then we'll see when the snap counts bear out where he goes and where the targets. I mean, Robbie Anderson was not like Hackenberg and Petty are the ones that loved Robbie Anderson last year, because nobody else was around. Like McCown and Anderson have no rapport. And Anderson didn't have such a good training camp. So I think that your best case scenario is Abdullah, and then just keep an eye on what the Jets do. You're going to watch the Jets. You're going to know how their targets shake out. 20 minutes, baby. We are out here. We solved so many fantasy dilemmas today on the Checkdown. It has been out of control. The viewership has been up. The engagements have been up. The tire fires have been lit. The power rankings were provocative. We are so out here. I feel like making some bets. I just do. All right, the first 3 people to name a team in the chat, we're going to wrap them in a teaser. That's it. We pick. Nice, Burns. We are out here. Football season is super duper litty. And that's the way it's going to be. Seahawks. Seahawks are the first team. I love it. Give me the points. Seahawks. Did you know that the last 3 times the Seahawks have played the Packers, they were missing one member of the Legion of Boom? And that's like a big reason to why they struggled. Like, they didn't have Earl Thomas in the NFC divisional game, and Aaron Rodgers tore them apart. He had 3 touchdowns. And I think that's a huge part of what they do. Their safeties are so important because they're so in sync and they're so athletic. They can take chances that other teams just can't. Richard Sherman, whatever. He's a cover 3 corner. He's a straight back corner. He's very good, but at the same time, he's a small part. Like, if I were going to lose one of those 3 guys, I would probably want to lose Sherman because he covers the least ground. Like, Thomas and Chancellor cover an insane amount of ground, and they're the ones that really bring the boom. Sherman gets the interceptions. Sherman wins the one-on-one matchups. Chancellor and Thomas, they bring the Legion of Boom, you know? Where Wagner rank on your top MLBs? I mean, he's up there. He's a monster. He came out of nowhere, and he's consistent is what I like about him. He's not a splash guy. As far as other middle linebackers in the league, I mean, Telvin Smith is really good. Kuechly, obviously. God, there's not a lot of, like, we're doing a lot of 3-4 now. We're doing a lot of outside edge rushers that get the shine. I mean, everybody feel free to name. Oh, Levante David is really good. I mean, fuck, the Giants got B.J. Goodson, starting middle linebacker. He's not going to be terrible tonight. He's not a liability. He can really play football. But as far as the top middle linebacker, Khalil Mack is number 1. And then Wagner's probably number 2 or number 3. Sorry. Khalil Mack's out here. Pay that man. Woo! Winding it down here on the Checkdown, boys. This has been absolutely litty. I cannot wait. Drew, what's up, man? Thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. I don't think OBJ plays tonight simply because we have a bias against receivers with lower body injuries. I think it affects their physicality. People discount just how good of a blocker Beckham is. And if he can't go 100%, he's not going to go. This is the same guy who, straight off as a rookie, missed 9 games because he wasn't right. I think that the Giants want him, but the Giants want him when he's 100%, or else he's just another guy. And I think they're going to make do without him. I'm like, the decoy thing is a thing where be like, oh, maybe they'll just bring Megatron out and send him deep as a decoy. While I understand that, I think if a guy has a hamstring issue, why would you want him to run? Like, I don't understand why you would dress him and then put him out of your run. So sit OBJ, let him get 100% healthy, and then we'll pick it up from there. Mariota or Stafford? Excellent question. Stafford is a very, very good play this season, but I like Mariota against the visiting Raiders, who gave up a ton of points last year. Terrible linebackers. So the Titans are going to be able to run the ball a ton, get that box crowded, and go over the top. I think Decker's going to catch a touchdown today. No Corey Davis. It sucks, but when he comes around, they're going to be really, really good. Let's go to the schedule, make sure I got everything in today. Ayo. We broke down today's show pretty good. We did Arizona Iced Tea Power Rankings. They went, they were provocative. That people liked them for the most part. People who liked green tea liked the Power Rankings. I'll say that. Spoilers. We did what I want to see most today. We did the NFL Red Zone drinking game. If there's quad box, you got to drink for 4 seconds. That's a good rule. Hey, Hunter, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining the chat. I don't know if you asked a question, but I really appreciate you hanging out. What else did we miss? Last minute ads. So we had last minute ads, CJ Procise, and things of that nature. Crab Rangoon and things of that nature. There are waiver ads. I just don't, like, you shouldn't really need a waiver ad today because you've had so much time. It's week 1, dog. We should be out here. OBJ officially out. There you go. Tanner with the scoopage. Dude knows. Dude's wise. Dude watches the check down. Yeah, man. Lacey's expected to get most of the work, but that's talk, and I wouldn't be surprised if CJ Procise had 10 carries. It's in Green Bay. They're going to run the ball a lot. Russell Wilson's healthy, but the line is trash. They got to create some balance. They're going to create some runs. I mean, Eddie Lacy's going to get the work, but I really want to see what Chris Carson does. Can you imagine if Chris Carson gets 6 touches and has 60 yards? Like, that creates a huge problem in Seattle. They got 4 running backs, and they like all 4 of them. And that creates really rough. Lacy's revenge game takes place at In-N-Out. Don't hate. Eddie Lacy ain't no revenge game. Eddie Lacy's revenge game was against LSU. Don't hate. Get out of here. Most overhyped player this year. The most overhyped player in fantasy football this year, I have 2. One is Brandon Cooks. Now, Cooks caught a long ball last night. If he didn't catch a long ball on Thursday, he would have had 2 catches for, I believe, 33 yards. He came out of nowhere with a long bomb. He doesn't have a defined role in the Patriots system, and they already have a vertical guy, and Brady's deep ball is struggling. I think that Brandon Cooks, it would have behooved him to go with a team with a better deep ball quarterback, like, say, the Ravens or the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers would be an embarrassment of riches, but on the Patriots, he has no defined role. He's sort of figuring it out on the fly, and it's overhyped because the value is insane. You had to take Brandon Cooks in the 2nd or 3rd round to get him, and that's just not fair because the Patriots, from a fantasy standpoint, are the most volatile offense in football. The other most overhyped player in fantasy is easily LeGarrette Blount, and because of the Patriots. He had 18 touchdowns last year. 18. An insane amount of those were from the 1-yard line. Those are Tom Brady's touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount scoring Patriots touchdowns from the 1-yard line is not a transferable stat. It doesn't exist. Hey, what's going on, Fantasy Football Express? Thank you for stopping in on the check down. We're wrapping it up. Newton or Mariota, what do we think? I like both of them today. I think Cam Newton's healthy. I think he's going to work the passing game. He's going to have a really nice game. He's going to pass for 2 and run for 1. Mariota also going to have a strong game, but I think when the Titans get in the red zone, it becomes less about Mariota and more about the hogs on the front line and letting DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry bang it in. When the Panthers get in the red zone, it becomes all about Cam. Bullet slants and QB draws and getting physical and getting to the pylon. I think Cam is going to be a great start this year. Don't really like the 49ers defense. Obviously, they got good young players, but I think Cam Newton is incredibly talented, and people got him as a great value this year, and I'm going to start him this year. I'm going to start him this week. Where we go? Lacy revenge game. We did, most overhyped. LeGarrette Blount. All those touchdowns from the 1-yard line. Those belong to Tom Brady. LeGarrette Blount did not go to Philadelphia with those touchdowns. He left them in New England. He's not bringing those touchdowns to Philadelphia. It doesn't work like that. 1-yard touchdowns are not transferable. So I'm very nervous about well, not nervous because I want the Eagles to be bad, but I am concerned about how much stock people place in LeGarrette Blount, a guy who, even with 18 touchdowns, wasn't a consistent fantasy play last year. It's insane to think that's even possible. But he was. His consistency was low despite having 18 touchdowns. That's ridiculous. The fantasy sleeper of the year, that's a little bit more complicated. Hey, Ben, super chat. Ask a question. Put an emoji on the wall. The daytime of the show on the whiteboard. I could do that. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Boo-doo. This is our emoji board, guys. You super chat, you get an emoji. You get to put an emoji on here, and we'll instantly talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's how super chat works. Oh, I'm in for a midweek show. Rather than an emoji, I vote for having the daytime of the show on the whiteboard. Midweek show. Midweek show. If we're going to do a midweek show, we have to consult our work schedule because there are other elements in play. Don't do video. I didn't pivot to video full time yet. Dead air. Okay, so I'm off on Thursday. So I can do Thursday night or Wednesday night, depending on what the people think is more important. Let's do Wednesday. Let's do a Wednesday show, and let's talk about it then. So let's go. I killed these markers by leaving them open all the time. That's so good. Doesn't dragging just like crush the show's flow? If you stop talking, man, what are you even watching for? Okay. Mid-week show. TBD. Boom. We are out here. I mean, I think you should still pick an emoji either way. Ben, if you want the eggplant, I can mix the red and the blue markers if you want to put the eggplant emoji up there. But either way, the emoji board is maybe the best idea I've ever come up with, because the great creativity comes from pain. And when I lost my diploma behind the wallpaper, I felt the pain. And here's the thing, though. You can't get a rainbow without a little rain. And that's the way we do it. Come on, you love that. I know a couple people who are smiling at that. Midweek show, TBD. Look at my handwriting. Look at my handwriting. Yeah, you botched that omelet. Eggs on the ground. Eggs on the ground. Okay, the trick to flipping an omelet, which I have not addressed on this show yet, is wrist action. And it's about getting egg mobility before you make the decision. A lot of people want to do like a cartoon egg flip and get hang time. That's garbage because you want your eggs wet and you don't want any splash. Yeah, the flip. Some people don't flip. It's insane. So if you use a spatula and turn over your egg, you're a pansy. All eggs get flipped. You get oil in the pan. You get a good rotation. It's wrist action. It's this elbow to wrist. Move back and forth, and when you feel like you've got momentum, you use the momentum, you pull back, and you let science and gravity do the work for you, and the egg just kind of rotates just because of physics, not because you flipped it. I'm jerking, dude. I'm jerking these eggs. The way you flip eggs is a highly scientific process. What's going on, MafiaAddict.com? You're getting blocked. Top 5 ways to cook eggs. I mean, that's a real provocative show. Thank you so much, everybody, for checking in today on the Checkdown. If you are... I know, right? First spam ad, dude. And, we had a crazy fun show today. If you like what you're watching, we do some silly stuff during the week on the Heavy.com playlist on their channel. There is an interview with Rob Gronkowski. We talk about what animal he would want to ride to work and if he's heard the new Taylor Swift song. It's a very good interview. If you don't laugh, hit up my Venmo. I will ship you chips. I'm so serious. I'm here for 2 things. Fantasy championships and giggles. And I won't quit until I have both. Oh my God. Guys, I'm getting word. We are going live. The New York Jets are on the field getting ready to... Oh no. Oh, their season just started. Oh man. It's week 1. It's week 1, Jets. Oh no. Guys, I believed in you. Oh, the win total's 4.5. Oh man. Oh man. God, I cannot run that clip enough. I'm in love with that clip of Garbage on Fire. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, besides everybody watching the show today. Did I not cut back? I thought I cut back. Ayo! Well, you got an extra shot of some garbage. Joke for Josh. That's my son. Don't make me buy a Jets Rosen jersey, please. People will just think I went custom and I'm a Jets fan, and that's sad. So, I'm still looking for a teaser. If you give me 2 teams, I'm already taking the Seahawks. If you give me a team, I will throw them in a teaser. And if you have any other questions, Twitter, @TheRickRosen. And on Facebook, you know where to find me. For friends, we're friends. Call me on the telephone. Shoot up a smoke signal. I'm here to help you win a fantasy championship. You cannot go into work and talk about your flex options. You cannot talk to your girlfriend about who's on the waiver wire. Bring that ish to me. I'm here for you. I'm your fantasy Sherpa. We're climbing the mountain together. Dude, my son, did you see what my son did against Hawaii? 5 touchdowns. Oh my goodness gracious. Wait, Armels, you want the Jets in that tease? That's an official statement. You know, I'm really not playing games out here except fantasy football. That is the one game I am playing. Okay, it was Hawaii, but he torched them. You beat the teams in front of you. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat. The numbers were gaudy is all I'm saying. I'm saying that so the Texas A&M win, it was a great comeback, but he easily 2 of those 4th quarter touchdowns could have been picks. One literally went through a safety's hand. But for him to show up the next week, not see pressure on 65% of snaps, and still have pocket poise and the best fundamentals of any quarterback in college right now, and throw 5 touchies on dude, he threw 25 passes and had 5 touchies. Come on! That dude's real. And my son, very proud of him. Makes me nervous whenever I watch. Jake Browning's good. Jake Browning's fundamentals are lacking, man. Jake Browning, he's scrappy. Jake Browning reminds me of Jeff Garcia, where it's like, okay, so you can hype Jake Browning to me, but if Darnold, Rosen, and Browning are sitting there, you know, Jake Browning is the Datsun. You know, Jake Browning is the Buick Century. Jake Browning is the not as good car if the other 2 human beings were actually cars and superior cars. Right? I feel like that happened. I feel like I made sense there. If you can believe kickoff is less than 5 minutes away, you got a pulse, because the checkdown's finishing up and football season is coming, and I could not be more excited. Y'all are the best. I am privileged and blessed to work a show like this. Heavy.com has provided me with this incredible platform to make things happen. It is the very pinnacle of video content, is being live here, representing Heavy, talking to you guys, interacting for 3 hours. We went 10-1. The stream's going to hit 3 hours. We looked at a lot of garbage fires. We looked at a lot of matchups. We helped a lot of people with advances. We did Shane Falco over Matt Saracen. We picked barbecue sauce first in a flex condiment pick. We picked Andy Tribeca in a TBS comedy draft, right? We picked Train and Maroon 5 over Imagine Dragons in an alternative rock draft. These are real things that actually happened on today's show. And if you're not watching, you're not listening to me tell you right now that you should be watching. So take those people, tell those people that they should be watching, because we're making magic out here, and this costs you zero. This is really low budget entertainment, and I'm really putting myself on the line for you guys. And don't forget about this emoji board. This thing's not going away anytime soon. And if you think these 2 emojis are getting erased, wrong. They're hanging. We're getting more emojis, and they might have to be smaller, because I want to fill that board by week 5. And I need super chats to do it. I need good questions. I need you to tell your friends how dope the show was. And if you have an idea for a power rankings, if you didn't like the Arizona Iced Tea power rankings, and if you want to bring your own top 5, hit me up, dog. I opened the phone lines on this show, and nobody called. One person did call, and I hung up on them because I was about to do Iced Tea power rankings. But I really, really, really appreciate everybody coming in and supporting and asking questions. It's only 1 week, but we are super duper out here, super duper ready to tackle the whole season together. Midweek updates, interviews, more stupid segments, more dumb power rankings. It's super, super lit. I really hope the Giants win tonight. Honestly, I hope the Jets win today too, because I love Twitter when the Jets are 1-0 and the Patriots are 0-1. You can't tell me that's not going to be lit. The thing I want most from the NFL today is a good Bills Mafia video. I want a video of someone in a Bills jersey either going through a table, being pile drivered into a camper, or like doing hard drugs in their seat in the stadium, like, or something sexual in the nosebleed sections. Like, I need something super provocative from Bills Mafia, and that will complete my NFL Sunday. Guys, we're hitting the last minute. Let's hit that theme song one more time, and let's say goodbye to the first episode of the Checkdown. Y'all are just absolutely incredible. Whew. I really don't know what else to say, man. It's 1 o'clock. Football starting. Get out of here. Go enjoy your Sunday. Twitter, @the_Rick_Rosen. I'm putting it here. Wow. This is the Checkdown. We're here, man. We're here every Sunday for you. I'm going to stay here to make sure my stream elapses at 3 hours, because I want to tell people I streamed for 3 hours and we had technical difficulties to start the show. So I'm hanging. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm going to kill the feed in a second, but man, this was fun. Man, I'm going to have a good time doing this with you guys for 14, 15 weeks. Keep watching. If everybody tells 2 friends and then those friends tell 2 friends, that's like 1 million people. And that's good enough to fill that emoji board with eggplants. Isn't that really the goal here? So, once again, thank you for watching. I'm going to put a best of clip of the show up during the week, which should be really fun. And, man, it's been super duper lit here on the Checkdown. Good luck in all your matchups today. Remember, it's just gambling, but always, always, always talk trash. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. Be good to each other, and I will see you next week on the Checkdown.